Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 166. Joined here by a bunch of people, but we are missing Sean. He claimed an issue with allergies. We'll find out next week if that was actually the case. Let's go around here. We have our guest tonight is Floor Hugger. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. It is really cool to be here. Dreamcast guy put up with me for like 6 hours one night, and I'm here. If you guys don't know about me, I write for Level 1 Gaming. I'm also one of the co-founders, and I'm just here to talk gaming and kind of rip into some games and some companies. Hope you guys enjoy that.
Okay, sounds fun. And then we have Max, of course, Dreamcast guy, is with us tonight. What's going on, man?
Pretty good. Chilling out, thinking about that Game Gear Micro and how nobody should buy it.
Ooh, oh man. Okay. we'll be talking about that one. And we got MVG. MVG made a really good video today. I saw it. It went live actually a couple hours ago about the Outer World, which we'll be talking about tonight on the Switch. How you doing tonight, MVG?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, Outer Worlds. We'll definitely be getting into that later on. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Cool. Then we got Miss Click.
How you guys doing?
Still got the setup with the monitor kind of taking up like the bottom quarter.
Stalker cam.
Yeah,
there.
always. Oh, I have literally no room in this house right now, so until this room is put back together, that's what we get.
Actually, no, I think it works.
You like it?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, I think it works.
Just don't gain any weight, or there might be a problem. You might be clipping
Oh
from
my
one
god.
side or
Yo,
another
I
side.
got a story for you later, OJ. I got a story for you later. Happens after your podcast.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
sounds fun.
We do have OJ with us. Polaris, what's going on, man?
I'm here. I'm wondering why Clubhouse Games is good. I didn't think it would be, but it's actually super dope.
What?
I just didn't think it'd be as good as it is.
MVG and I've been saying it's going to be Game of the Year for weeks.
I'm playing it right now.
Then again, you guys wait a minute. But then again, you guys both like Death Stranding. So I mean, I'm just sitting here. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I had to just do it myself. Okay. All right.
I can't believe you're still using this.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep on using
like
it.
that.
Right? It's been 6 months. Get over it.
Yeah.
I'm just joking, guys. I'm joking. We'll talk about it later.
Jordan, what's up?
Hi, what's up?
Jordan, I like that background you got going there.
Thanks. It's going to change again probably by the next one.
Nice. All right, very good.
Like it always does every like 10 days.
Also, Jordan, it doesn't look like Skate 4 is coming this week. EA had to push back their event. So
well, it wasn't going to have Skate 4 as far as I know.
Skate 4. What? Hold on.
Skate 4 is most likely not at this event.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Skate 4 is a thing that's not at this event.
Then we have.
I'll let you guys know next week.
Then we have Nate. What's going on, Nate? You had the good comparison for Outer Worlds.
Yeah, it looks dreadful.
Okay, very good.
But Clubhouse Games is fun. I'm actually playing it right now too.
Well, you had some interesting input on the Bloodborne rumors that I figure we'd go over as well.
Yes.
So I figured you'd have some good input on that one when we get to it. And then we have Evan, who's going to attempt to moderate 3 different chats all at once.
Yep. People normally ask why I don't talk. This is why, and it's probably going to be worse tonight.
Okay, yeah.
Or Evan.
Don't even feel like you gotta explain yourself, dude. People don't know. So
We are over on Twitch as well as YouTube and Mixer tonight, so you can kind of pick a platform and view us there. So let's I guess we can start with the games we played this week. I know we just started talking about Clubhouse. Do you guys want to go over Clubhouse games first, since a bunch of us I think played it?
So I think I'm one of the only people that didn't play it. Sell me on. I don't even know. I haven't even looked at a trailer. Why is this so great? Because seriously, all of their private chat, everything y'all are all talking about it. Why is this so great?
It's
a compilation of 51 games, right?
Yeah, you got 51 different games you can play, sports, cards. It's just amazing. You play online. It's a nice little social game.
Is it like actual 3D graphics, or is it just like I don't know? 51 seems like a lot of mini games. That actually does it look like good?
Some of it, yeah.
It's simplistic. Some of them have like this toy aesthetic. So like instead of soccer, you're playing like on a foosball table technically. But I think for what they're going for, like baseball is like one of those like what would they be? It's not like a board game for baseball, but it's like one of those machines you would use where you got to hit a button and like the bat swings. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they went more for like almost like an arcade kind of for some of those. But I think visually it's fine. I mean, it's simplistic. It's nothing like over the top crazy. Like the visuals didn't blow me away when I turned it on, but they worked fine. Like I think some of it has some cool level of detail, like that baseball
bowling,
field.
right?
It does have bowling. Bowling's a little strange. I don't know if it's just me. Did you guys try playing bowling with the Joy-Con motion? Something's off about that. Is that just me?
It's not like it's not Wii Sports bowling is kind of the problem. So it's like, yeah, you're still doing the motion, but it's not as deep as you got from the Wii Sports bowling. So you can still put some spin on the ball and such. I mean, I bowled a perfect game against a guy earlier today using it. So you just have to kind of find a a nice path, a nice line to use, and you'll probably get a strike.
Yeah, like technically like classic Wii bowling, where you just flick the wrist real quick and it just hucks it down the middle.
No, but I mean like the actual motion of the Joy-Con holding it and then swing back forward. It does some weird stuff sometimes. Does that happen to you, Nate?
It happened when I first started to try it out. Like I would go back and the ball wasn't coming with it. So then the thing was like, no, you have to keep doing it. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then all of a sudden I just dropped the ball and I got a gutter ball. I was like, okay. I'm like, I actually just brought the controller up to my chest and I was still holding down R and it still threw the ball, which was kind of annoying. But since then it's worked fine for me, but it's a little finicky.
I don't like. How much is the game?
40.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not for like 50 something games.
Pick it up. Yeah, I may pick it up just because you said it has like online play, like 2-player online play.
Yes, it has online, and I think that's one of the best things about it because it's just fast to get into a game, like with one of your friends and play. We did like little mini tournaments on my stream last night, and I've never laughed so hard in my life. Playing like toy soccer and like there's like toy tennis. There's like air hockey. The air hockey is great. I don't know if you guys like the air hockey, but I find it to be extremely fun. It feels kind of like you're playing air hockey. I mean, they did something with the HD Rumble. Not sure what it is, but it feels super great to play. So I had a ton of fun playing that. There's like a bunch of board games, stuff like Mancala. You guys ever play that game back in the day? Like the little where we put the little stones or whatever, you move them over, stuff like that. There's like there's like card games. Like blackjack and like that stuff is like super fun to play.
Or friend only? Is that like something I can just do with strangers, or do I have to people from my friends?
You can do that, yeah. Strangers, or you can just play with friends. But like I like the card games like blackjack and Texas Hold'em. Those are super fun to play. With
that actually sounds. That sounds like one of those games I would only play on my Switch Lite. I don't think I'd want to sit down with it, but that sounds like something really cool. Of like when I'm just chilling on the living room watching Netflix. That sounds really good, actually.
It's a dope game, like community game too. I know you're starting to stream a little bit more. Like you can say like, hey, we're playing like Clubhouse games, and like people will definitely want to play that. Like it's super fun to play with friends. Hashtag free game.
It has some really basic games too, where you do like that, where you hold a button down for the RC car and it'll just race around. But if you hold it down for too long, it'll fly off. It's nothing fancy, but like I think they have games in there that are seriously just there to be easy. If you're playing with like the family and you need a game that somebody can just be like, oh, okay, I just press a button down to play it. That's pretty much what it is. But then some of them are a bit more complex. Like baseball is interesting because you can throw a curveball, even though it's like one of those spring-loaded things that you just shoot it.
Baseball's tough because you can fast pitch it and you really don't have time to swing. And I played online. That's all the guy was doing was fast pitching. I'm like, are you serious, man?
Well, online it would be tough because there is some timing with that, and baseball was never, for me anyway. When I play online with baseball, it was never even good with like actual baseball games either.
Dude, you've got to be really quick with your reflexes on baseball. Like I ended up doing okay when I was playing. Like the fast pitching was going on, but you've got to almost like anticipate it and press it like ahead of time, in order to get like a good hit. But I mean, it's doable, but it's tough for sure.
I think for $40, I think it's a good party game. So it's fun.
You can't go wrong with a $40 game that you get 51 games for.
Right?
Yeah, the value is there. They definitely just said throw everything in there, and they'll get their money's worth in terms of quantity.
Even if you only play 30 of the games, you don't like Baccarat or you don't like card games, you still get 30 plus games that you can play with your family or online. Yeah.
They got
great value.
They got like blackjack, and they have war. War was blackjack.
Nice.
Blackjack's addictive. Texas Hold'em I like. I like billiards, even though billiards is kind of
a little strange.
Well, you can't put spin on the ball.
Yeah.
So if you got like
Isn't that a whole element of billiards?
Yeah. Huge element.
It's billiards, but on the
you'd want to hit the cue ball
simplistic.
to try to with some backspin to stop it when it hits the ball, so it doesn't follow the ball in. But you can't seem to do that. At least I couldn't figure it out. And the cue ball would follow the ball you hit in, so you got to like barely tap it so that it doesn't go all the way. Yeah, but I mean, I guess it's fun enough, and you can do like 9-ball or 8-ball or any of that. So they have those options.
Golf is good. I like golf.
I don't like tennis as much.
Tennis is a little weird. Yeah,
it's a little weird because you have to press A to swing to the right, then B to swing to the left. Like it's not like
that sounds terrible.
So it's like.
And it has
weird.
tracks. It has tracks. So they have like predetermined tracks that you go around because it's supposed to be like one of those old time what are those? The games, like the old time games where you'll move your character around. All this stuff is supposed to like mirror like these sets from like the 70s or something.
Talking about like the electric football and stuff like that.
Kind of like that,
yeah.
It's really weird though. I don't like it as much because I don't feel like I have a lot of control over the ball when I hit it, and it's kind of strange. I just wanted like Wii Sports Tennis. If they just dropped that on there,
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's hard to kind of compete with that because of how legendary like all the Wii Sports games were. So
yeah,
I
right.
mean,
Here's the best
look
game
at what it
ever.
does to
How
do.
can everybody compete with the best game ever?
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Wii Sports is interesting because like tennis was really the game that everyone just thought that was super good in there, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was just kind of like tennis. The rest of the games were like, okay, hit or miss. But yeah, the tennis, like the kind of stuff like with the motion controls and things like that, not necessarily the best, although tennis isn't motion controls. But like what John was saying, like sometimes like you get kind of like you're trying to move to the other side and you might just accidentally go up a little bit and it throws you off on the tennis because there's like the little dual bar tracks and like the one at the bottom. But there's I like some of the other stuff, like the soccer stuff is really cool. What do you think about that, John? 'Cause I know you're a soccer guy.
It's like foosball. It's just like the foosball tables. So like, that's all right. I was never a big fan of foosball tables, but I guess it's just something they tried to do was just make it again like it's a clubhouse and everyone's going to like the community center to play. It was okay though. It's just you're spinning your characters one way or the other and you're moving them up and down a track. But I played it some and I only scored on myself by accident like twice. So that's good for foosball though.
Yeah, right.
That was the most intense game between me and my community. We were getting like crazy, like crazy competitive with that one. I don't know why, but we were just getting super competitive with it.
Oh man.
How does it compare to the previous Clubhouse games though? Have you guys?
I didn't play it on the DS. I didn't play it on the DS
either.
It's very similar.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you played it
better overall, but
it never struck me to pick it up for some reason there. Maybe it's because the Switch is trying to go for more of a like party game, like multiplayer with one system kind of thing. Like for some of the board games, you put the Switch down on its back and like it supposed to look like a chessboard or a checkers board or something. So I think that's a cool idea for that.
You know what I miss about, I know we're in a time of weirdness, but you're talking about air hockey is, I don't know if you guys are American, of course. Arcades are not really a thing here in Canada. We didn't really have a lot of them. But when you go to an arcade and you play air hockey, there's always that one person that puts their fingers over the edge of the thing and you just mess their fingers up and score all the points on them. So that was my favorite thing, and I kind of miss that nowadays. It's like, I just want to destroy somebody.
We have these things here in Dallas that are real popular called barcades, where it's like half of it's a brewery and half of it's like mint condition arcade machines you can play on. But they've removed all the air hockey because drunks just kept smashing each other.
That would be the worst.
I can imagine, yeah.
See, if I owned a barcade, I wouldn't even want to bring in any really expensive arcade machines. That'd be like, I wouldn't want to.
That would get beat up so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. That is an interesting thing to try to mix alcohol and expensive arcade machines.
Imagine
you know what I've never understood is those boxing machines in the bars. It's like, that's dangerous.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Yeah.
Especially, I feel
dangerous.
like there's a lot of steroid people in my part of town. So there's just huge yoke dudes walking in, and all those machines are broken now. I swear to God, every single time I see one of those, it's just like hanging in pieces. Like, all right, steroids, you did it. You beat the game.
Yeah, we haven't had a good arcade around here in a while. We just call our arcade the movie theater. That's basically what it is.
Oh yeah, those are like I hate the new arcade games that are like the cell phone games, but they turn it into a machine. I hate those.
Yeah.
Man,
I know what you're talking about.
It's not an arcade until there's Dance Dance Revolution, though.
Exactly. It's a law. I don't make the laws. I just don't pay them.
And somebody's on there trying way too hard, getting way too sweaty, and it's just like, you got a movie in 20 minutes. Just go.
On that back bar. Yeah.
The back bar just like, all right. I got this. Like, no, baby, you don't.
You only get a high score if you rip onto the machine.
Let's go over to Floor Hugger. What'd you play this week?
Oof. So I just finished a bunch of like smaller indie games, but I did start Yakuza Kiwami, and that's taken all my time.
That's Max's series right there. Yeah.
I literally I bought in 3 copies of this. I keep giving Kiwami to people because I feel like Kiwami is the most accessible. Of course, I have it right behind me, but I love Yakuza Kiwami. So welcome to the crack.
It's so good. I was telling when we were on, we did a infinitely long call. I was playing Yakuza back in the day, but it was on the PS2. And if you go back and play it on the PS2, it's god ugly. But I was like, why does my only thing with the Yakuza series, even as you get into it, is Kiryu is like 50 years old and he's still got a 6-pack. Everybody got a 6-pack. Why is everybody so fit?
he's also, there's like a great joke where it says like, it's like I try and buy a hot dog in Yakuza and the guy rips off his jacket and it's like a 7-year-old dude is fully jacked. He's like, you have challenged the 5th council. It's like, oh my God, let's do this.
I just don't understand that about Yakuza. Everybody's fit and I'm like, I'm not, but okay. But that's really what I've been playing.
Nice.
I tried to play other things, but Yakuza's taking all my time. I'm trying to get that finished before Cyberpunk.
That'll take up a lot of time. Yakuza will. What about OJ?
Yeah, a lot of Clubhouse games just recently. Nintendo got me a review code for that, so that's been a lot of fun playing that. But really just been playing a ton of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Every single time I go back into the world, and I'm just like, man, like the whole, comparisons like with Xeno 2 and everything like that. People always bringing that up, but man, dude, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition it's just my game.
I'll be okay. So
So
I'm 20 hours in now to Xenoblade Chronicles. All right, I'm gonna tell you now, this game is better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
And that's what most people, not most people, that's what a lot of people, I guess, a lot of people are saying that it's better because it's simpler, but at the same time, it still has a lot of depth in the game. It has a lot of depth in the game. And yeah, I would probably agree with that. If Torn of the Golden Country was an actual full game bigger, I might like that one more because of what they did, but because, it's not, it's just way smaller in comparison. Plus you get the quality of life benefits that they added into the game. Yeah, I think this might still be this is their best game, that they've made is, Xenoblade game.
Yeah, looking at this one as I'm playing it, because I think I'm a little further than where I was before when I had borrowed it for like a weekend. When I'm looking at this now, compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I think this is better, like you're saying, because it's a little more simplistic in terms of all of the stuff you can do in it. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because they brought the blades in, it opened up even more skill trees and more things to do with them, and it just got to the point where there was just so much stuff going on in terms of progression. It almost felt like there was too much and they didn't go into some of the progression enough, kind of, whereas this, there's a bit more for each character, and then on top of that they get extras like their skill links and other things. So like I think just from what I've played so far, which is like I said about 20 hours, my characters are just about level 40. I think this is better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2 from what I've played.
Fair assessment on that. I think they, like I said, they kind of went too much in terms of trying to make things different and trying to add a bunch of stuff. I think that if they would have taken the approach with Torn of the Golden Country with Xenoblade 2, then it might be more on equal footing than have that big of a game surrounded it. If they handled blades differently, the way that they handled blades was just, they did too much. That whole blade base and mission, that wasn't even needed. Like that's just a bunch of content that just wasn't even needed, honestly. It would have been a dope game without it, and like you just got rare blades when you did like certain missions, right? Let's just say like you did this dope side quest, you got a new rare blade. That would have been better than just trying to build this whole thing around it, which Microsoft always tries to add as much as possible, as you can clearly see. I mean, they always have crazy amounts of content, but they just did way too much,
They're a very bold studio, and so they wanted to like, let's make an experimental randomized weapon wife simulator and see how that goes.
I'm enjoying it though, so I'll keep playing it and we'll get through it and see what I think when I'm all done.
It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Like the stuff, like right now I'm doing a lot of the Colony 6 like a reconstruction, and I'm telling you guys, everybody that's playing it now has it good. Because back in the day when I played it, remember, this was before really smartphones were really getting around too much, and this was before there was guides. And now you can go into your quest log and you can look at what you need for the rebuilding, which is very beneficial if you do it. But back then you couldn't do that. You had to go to Juju in the place in order to get all the. It was just a nightmare collecting things for that, and just having to remember. I would be writing down stuff, bro. Like it was like, because there was no guides back then when I imported it from Europe, and because it was just in Japan and nobody made any guides, so it was just horrible. And they completely made it so much better. The recolonization, the rebuilding of Colony 6 is so much better now at this point, which is very important that you do that because you get some dope stuff when you do it. So
okay,
so yeah.
I'll do more of that then too.
Yeah, because you get one of the things is like for everybody, just do this. This isn't a spoiler, but if you rebuild all of it to at least level 1, you get one of those portable gem crafting machines. You get a portable gem crafting machine.
Right, so you don't have to keep going back. Okay,
exactly. So a lot of people are saying, "Man, I have to keep going back to this dude every time." No, if you just rebuild at level 1 with everything, you'll get it. It's part of a mission. He'll give you a mission for it. You'll get one of those. It's important, and there's other things you get too.
Cool. I like the fast travel, so even after I got that, I would teleport back to the starting town just because it was fun to revisit for no reason.
There's new missions that come up too, so sometimes it's good to just go back because new missions pop up all the time. So
you know what? At this point, after seeing what they did with Chronicles, I think I would like to see Xenoblade Chronicles X come over with the quality of life stuff. I think it'd be great to see that now.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that's planned. We'll see.
Xeno X would be crazy too, though. It definitely have to be a good investment though, because that has online multiplayer.
Yeah,
that has online multiplayer, and which is still going. You can still play it online if you want to, but that game is pretty massive with what they do there. So if they brought that game over and they did quality of life improvements to it, and they have the online multiplayer intact, that'd be something interesting. That'd be something very interesting.
All right, Nate, what'd you play? Let us know.
I played some Clubhouse games. The Outer Worlds. Yeah.
Anything other than those two, because we're going to talk about the Outer Worlds in a few minutes.
Started to play some of Legend of Heroes Steel 3, but that doesn't release till later in the month.
That's a long game too, dude. That's going to take you a while to get through.
Yeah, good thing I had like 3 weeks. So trying to think of the weirdest game would be playing Ski Sniper again.
You still played that?
I just want to get the crossbow. I want to unlock the crossbow. I got the crossbow. I want to see how much different it was from the gun. And the crossbow has it's so pinpoint, but the arrow just goes right through the character. So it's...
Dude, that's a Flash game we would have played on Newgrounds back in the day.
It's 49 cents, bro. It's awesome.
Oh man, all right.
That partially answers the "Has anyone played any more Ski Sniper?" question. Anyone else actually?
I'll admit I played it for about 30 seconds the next day after we did the last Spawncast, and it was not fun. That game, the physics are it almost seems like a randomization. And sometimes I'll perfectly nail a shot and the arrow just goes through him, or the bullet. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
As a side question,
are you focusing?
Probably not. Clearly, I'm not focusing because I'm too busy just cringing.
He's gonna write a guide on it.
As a side question, anyone doing a review of it?
I have thought about doing kind of a wood from beat 'em up style video. I kind of want to do a thing where I buy a bunch of games for under $1 and then try and look at a bunch of like 12-cent games and stuff. We'll see though.
I was going to make a video of just, is this the worst eShop game? But then I talked about it so much last week that everyone thinks it's the best eShop game, so I really can't go with that title.
That's good clickbait, though. You should do
it. Miss Click, what'd you play this week?
I've just been playing Xenoblade, dude. I'm trying to get through it as much as I can before part 2 comes out.
You enjoying it?
No. I am. I finally got stuck like my first part though, because like just when I'm streaming, even though I tell myself like I need to take more time and just do tons of things, I always tend to go with more just the story. And with Xenoblade you can't, because at a certain point it's like you need levels, and you need to like kind of hit like a base. Yeah, so like there was a part I had hit, what was it? Freaking the sea, and like we're going through all the like teleporters and everything, and I was just like, you have to fight all those like lizard dudes. Like,
yep, there's a spot where you run into them and you're like,
I'm like, oh my god, yeah. So we only streamed for a couple hours today, but we pretty much just like grinded some stuff to get to that point. It was just really annoying, but like it is satisfying. Like once you like reconfigure your setup, your team, and your gems and all your gear, and then you finally get the levels and then you beat it. You're like, okay, we gotta move on and do it all over again.
Quick, you doing the button mapping thing too? You gotta make sure you do that.
I already
sure.
did it. Yeah,
Okay,
I spent
good.
the stream before last doing it, but it is fun because it is reminiscent to me of like I didn't realize how like similar it would feel to play in games like WoW or even like a MOBA, but it is very satisfying in that sense where it's more directional. But again, I still wish that you had like the Final Fantasy VII remake kind of feel of switching characters, because sometimes I'm like Ryan topple, Ryan topple, Ryan freaking topple. Now I have Ricky, and I'm like, dude, Ricky topple, and neither of them are toppling. I'm like, yo, you guys, come on, help me out.
I kind of like I like the game a lot. I like the combat a lot because, like
It
you
is fun.
said, it feels like an MMO and how you're trying to queue up attacks. It's not necessarily about the first attack; it's about the third and fourth. I love that about it. It's so addictive.
Have you ever played The Last Story? It's only on the Wii though.
I have. Yeah, I played that game.
I remember
like crazy.
seeing it. I never played it though.
I think Miss Click, you would like it because you can switch between characters and they do listen to you. The AI is better than most AIs aside from The Witcher, because the AI follows you as you run, but it's better than most AIs in most modern games I've played. Last Story. It's made by the Final Fantasy VII creator.
You think they'll ever do anything with that and bring it over?
I don't think it will. I think it's one of those weird games.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm thinking maybe, but the problem is Sakaguchi's team, like Mistwalker, has just been blackballed from the industry. To be honest, he's making Apple Arcade games.
Yeah, he's literally.
Oh no.
Well, I think he did a couple like standalone. They feel almost sequels to the Final Fantasy series. Like what was this one? I'm totally forgetting.
Lost Odyssey.
Yeah, Lost Odyssey. He did a bunch of these that have just kind of disappeared. So, and it feels like none of these come back.
Yeah, I think the thing is like they take a lot of investment and like they're great, but they don't sell like, if Lost Odyssey was like crazy good seller, then maybe he'd still be around doing stuff. Nintendo didn't even want to bring it. I mean, it wasn't even Nintendo published that game in Japan, but they didn't even want to bring it over here in America. They didn't. Exy did, but it did really well for Exy. It was like their best selling game that they brought over. So I mean, there's clearly an audience for it. If they brought that one over, like let's just say they do like a really nice remaster of it and bring it over to the Switch, I think like the Floorhugger was saying, it's going to be freaking amazing if they did that.
I just did a retrospective on it, and most people are like, I would love for this game to be on a modern system. Like, I don't know what you guys' stances are in emulators, but I did emulate it because I couldn't find a copy in appropriate time. So I did emulate it, but God, that game is so good. And just bring it over. You're going to make money. Even if people don't buy it, there's going to be that like cult classic people that love it and buy it. And just bring it over. Come on. You guys like money, Nintendo. You like it. Bring it over.
A lot of JRPGs have really grown in the West over the last decade or so. So that,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I did a retrospective on it as well a while back. How it should come to Switch. Yeah, I love the game. I think it's dope. I don't know if it's better than Xenoblade, but it's definitely very good. It's definitely very good, and it has multiplayer too. I don't know if they bring that over or not, but there is like a 6-player boss rush multiplayer, which I played back in the day when it first came out, and it was fun. It was fun for what it was. It would be a lot better if you had like the communication with your team and everything. But there is multiplayer.
Evan, let's hear what'd you play this week, Evan.
I got stuck doing a lot of commission stuff, but yesterday I did manage to get 3 of my friends together to take another crack at seeing if we could get any further into GTFO, and we managed to clear 2 of the levels after like several failed attempts. So
you're really into that game, huh?
It's really fun. The difficulty scaling, just everything you have to do in it is just way too good. The level of communication you need and trust in your teammates is just awesome.
Okay. Did we get MVG?
I'm playing Clubhouse games. Actually, I'm playing with Nate right now.
Oh my God!
And
Outer Worlds. That's my week.
Okay. Fair enough. Jordan is not here. Right. Okay. That'll work. Evan, we got any Discord questions?
Well, we did those.
You totally forgot about me. It's fine.
Did I? I thought I. Oh,
no love for you.
It was right before we went live. We talked about it right before we went live. Oh, don't
probably
forget.
because we talked. You were talking about you jumped in for Xenoblade, but Jordan's back. Jordan, what'd you play this week?
Didn't really have time to play too much, so just some Animal Crossing.
Oh, okay, that works. Animal Crossing still rolling along. I forgot about Animal Crossing. I wonder what happened to my village.
I do my daily check-in.
It's on fire.
Oh, you just do like
turnips are rotting.
You do the daily check-ins and then you kind of roll along after that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Max. What'd you
Just
play?
Last of Us. I beat Last of Us this week, and for how old that game is, it still plays amazingly. I made the mistake of going online. It turns out that there are people who have been playing it all day, every day for the last 8 years, 7 years. There are people that are level 1,000 in the leveling system. It takes forever, and they one-shot you again and again. And they're clearly not hackers; they're just gods. So play Last of Us, play the DLC. Maybe don't go online.
Okay, Evan, you wanna hit us with the Discord question?
Which video game company do you think has the biggest wasted potential?
Nintendo.
Sega. What the hell?
I was thinking Sega there for a minute.
Sega by the largest potential pot. Like they own all of Persona. We have not seen Persona 1, 2, 3, or 4 released on HD systems. What?
I'm going to say Konami.
I'll say Atari.
Sega by the right answer is Sega. There's no other answer but Sega. Comic Zone. Can we talk about Comic Zone? Where's that at?
Sega doesn't really have anything.
Vector Man? Where's Vector? Vector Man? Look at all these classic Sega franchises.
It's definitely Konami. Come on, Konami is. I mean, where's Metal Gear Solid? They could do a Metal Gear Solid remake. Where's
You didn't like Survive?
Survive doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. What is that game? Survive?
Yes, you do. We talked about it. You loved it. It was your favorite game of the year.
You were going to get me in trick. Shat's going to kill me. No, I hated that game. I'll put my hand on a Bible.
He loved Metal Gear Survive. Don't listen to him.
What about Microsoft? What about Microsoft? That's sitting on a whole bunch.
Yes, but I feel like they're trying. Obviously, it sounds like they're going to make another Perfect Dark. It sounds like we're going to another.
What about Take-Two and Rockstar?
What
I was just about to say Take-Two.
Dude, what happened to a lot of their IPs? They haven't released much of anything.
Where's Table Tennis 2? Jeez.
I mean, like the Midnight Club's gone, Manhunt's gone, Bully's gone.
Yeah. There's that rumor. I saw all those detailed leaks about Bully 2. They were definitely working on a Bully 2 with a team for a while.
They said they were, but then they said they just went nah and just walked away from it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes it even worse that they had the idea for such a great sequel. They went, bye.
There's that image online where people were like, spot the year that Rockstar discovered microtransactions, and it was like they released game after game after game every year, and then they hit GTA Online and they just stopped releasing games.
I actually got in an argument with I did a video a couple of years ago with David Jaffe, the guy who invented God of War, and he actually said that was a good thing because I showed him that exact chart, and he was like, "That's because they're profitable now. They don't have to constantly have this hunger cycle." And I was like, "Well, the hunger cycle led to more games, David."
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. That's the idea.
I think it's better for it's better for the employees, right? Maybe.
And that's probably what it is that they probably have 800 full-time employees now instead of constantly hiring and firing.
And I don't know if they would have been able to even explore the idea of Bully while in a hunger cycle. It just wouldn't have been a thing.
Probably not.
So Shamsa once again came through this week with another ridiculous donation of $1,000.
Jesus Christ,
Shamsa.
Jesus.
There's no message for it. It's just Shamsa donated. So once again, thanks Shamsa. And we had talked about the idea of doing something online soon.
I just want to say a thank you to Shamsa real quick. Shamsa has been donating on my streams as well, which is how has been able to purchase this microphone. The great audio, this is completely because of them. So thank you for the microphone, and thank you for the donations. It helps the Spawncast fundamentally.
Yes. Thanks. Big shout out to Shamsa. I really appreciate the generosity. It's very, very kind.
Shout out Shamsa.
We'll come back around here when I go back through. I just saw that pop up and I said I gotta go through this.
I gotta say, my game company that has been just lacking, and I know the chat was ripping me with my Oilers jersey and Flames hat, but I gotta say the company that has been, and I want to support them so much, but has been lacking is Bioware, because Andromeda, I've come to love Andromeda in its broken state, and
why
Dreamcast ripped into me last time. I'm the only one on my team that plays Anthem still.
Is it Stockholm Syndrome?
I know. She told me she's played
Miss Quick just looked at me like, "Oh God, no."
I feel bad.
Are you the one that told him the Christmas lights were still up?
Yes. I was like, "Hey guys," but yeah, I feel like Bioware is just lacking because they made Jade Empire, Mass Effect 1, although it's ugly. Mass Effect 2 is probably my favorite game of all time. Dragon Age Inquisition, Origins 2, and it's I just feel like they're
I
missing
feel you
something
on.
now.
I feel you on that. I'm a huge Bioware. Was a huge Bioware fan, but I think that's more of EA. More so than anything. I think you can kind of point the finger towards
I didn't
EA
want to call them out.
Why not?
You can.
It's EA's fault that Bioware is what Bioware is at this point. It really is their fault.
Well, yeah, because the bulk of the people you liked left. So
I played. There's going to be an apology game that comes out for Mass Effect. So look out for that.
I played all the way through Anthem, and the whole time I was kind of sad because I felt like that game actually could have been good.
Oh, I know.
The entire time I'm playing through it, I'm like, this just it's starting to drag really bad because it just
Flying was cool.
That was cool. Yeah. You felt like Iron Man.
Unlike anything else.
What me and Floor were saying
better than the Iron Man games.
We were saying that what they should do is, because she's still playing it, I was like, what they should do is just take that great gameplay and put it in an actual game. Like, just take it over here, just take the exact combat. You can even take some of the maps, write a plot, just make a story in there, put some cutscenes.
I think that's what they're doing. They're doing the whole remake Anthem Next or Anthem 2.0, and I think they're doing it. It's got 30 people on the team. Who knows how long? But like the Cataclysm event was good. I didn't get to play the Season of the Skulls or the Ice Tide, but they even have now if you go in, they have time trials in the world, and the more drops are frequent, and you get better stuff. But it's just like, you need to rework this because something is missing. It's hollow. Why did they take a single player studio and make a multiplayer game? I just don't understand.
I need to hear Nate's explanation for why he said Nintendo immediately.
Nintendo has a lot of IPs that they've been sitting on for years, or they have IPs that they could do a lot more with. I mean, we can look at the Earthbound IP. We can look at Star Fox, which is underutilized. We can look at F-Zero. We can look at Star Tropics. We can look at Eternal Darkness. They are sitting on a lot of quality IP that they're doing nothing with, but they continue to renew the trademarks. They continue to like tease them in some of their random games like Tamagotchi Life. So, I mean, Nintendo does they're wasting a lot of valuable, series. They can do a lot with these franchises. They're still loved by a lot of people. So step up and put out a new quality Star Fox.
Oh, Golden Sun.
Yeah, Golden Sun, another one. That's a great RPG that they could do something with. So I mean, not ridiculous when you really look at Nintendo's
Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus.
Ooh.
I mean,
F-Zero.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at their catalogs of IP, there's a lot they could do with a lot of different franchises, and they're simply not.
You're right, because like every time there's a direct, someone's always mad after the direct.
It's true.
because their favorite game wasn't there, and it's just because they have so many IPs and quality games.
And I agree with you. I definitely agree because they do have all that. But man, dude, Sega is just
okay.
It's
Sega
mind blowing with Sega.
You on the Sega train, baby?
Have you seen Sega's list of IPs that they own?
They own.
That's true.
They own Vanquish. They own Mad World. They own.
We got Streets of Rage 4.
Jet Set
Binary
Radio.
Domain.
Jet Set. I'll give you that. Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio. Crazy Taxi. I mean, they own so many IPs. People don't understand how many IPs. Like I said, Persona. Let's just look at Persona. Persona 4 is one of the greatest games of all time. Honestly, like no joke. It's
It
so
really
good,
is.
and it's not on a single HD system. Persona 3, not on a single HD. Like none of these are even brought back in certain ways. Like there's no way to replay these games. Oh my God, Sega! I get you with Nintendo. Like I get all that, but dude, Sega is Sega.
I mean, Sega is probably the worst. I mean, you're sitting on Skies of Arcadia. You had to go to Kickstarter to bring back Shenmue, and it's like,
Skies of Arcadia. I didn't even mention that.
I know.
I love Skies of Arcadia.
Dude, that's one of my favorite games of all time. Skies of Arcadia.
I literally think of it every day. Every day I think of Skies of Arcadia.
Legends
wake up
on the
with a tear running
GameCube
down
is
your eye.
so good.
Yes, a single tear. I saw somebody recently got the alien language they have. So I saw somebody recently getting tattoos of that, and even then I was like, oh, that's so good. That game is so eternal.
Dude,
Jet Shining Force too. People talk about Shining
yeah.
Force. That's another phenomenal IP that they have.
Jet Set Radio still looks good. Like if you have that HDMI Dreamcast and you turn it on through that, it's still like if they took that game and made a new one with these newer consoles, it would look ridiculous with that cell shading.
Especially, they got to bring the DJs back. The people who did the soundtrack for the original two games is that's still some of the best gaming soundtracks.
They could even do like an online and like have it where you make your own crew and everything. And
imagine a Vanquish. A brand new Vanquish game like on Xbox Series X and PS5. Oh my bruh.
Devastation.
Bruh.
Or what about
imagine
games that have no publishers now? Like I was talking about on level 1, is No One Lives Forever and No One Lives Forever 2. I love those games, but we're in that weird area of like Vivendi own them, but now Vivendi doesn't own them, so they're just floating in the zeitgeist of the internet with code out there.
There's 3 companies that have ownership of that franchise. Unfortunately, it's really complicated.
That's never gonna get solved, is it?
Evan, you got another Discord question over there?
Yeah. Have you ever played a game and finished and felt like that could have been so much better if? What game made you feel that way?
Anthem.
Yeah, we did kind of already go over at least one of them.
Mass Effect 3.
Oh, Mass Effect 3 is a good one.
Oh,
yeah.
The original or like the one where they rewrote the ending?
I didn't play the rewritten ending. I didn't want to go down that path, because that was changed after all that pressure from the public. So I really wanted just to play the game with the original vision of the creators. So I just left it at that.
Okay.
A big one for me, Silent Hill Shattered Memories. This was supposed to be a reimagining of the original Silent Hill. When you first turn this game on, it gives you a brief psychology test, and it would actually change certain elements, including the ending and stuff, by it. And it has a lot of good stuff. The main thing is there's no combat. The entire game is running from monsters and playing hide and seek, and then doing some pretty decent puzzles. And it's not necessarily a terrible game, but at the end of it, I was actually just like, man, what if they just tried? Like, what if they had an extra, 10 employees?
What if they just tried?
Didn't just sneeze this one out.
Oh, man.
What if they just tried?
If one person gave a shit, just one.
Let's see. Evan, do we have any other Discord questions we can go over now?
Got 3 more if we wanted to hold off on them. I don't know. It's up to you.
Okay,
are you looking through super chats?
I was going to start that, but you know what? Let's just go over to Outer Worlds. We might as well do this now, MVG and Nate. All right.
Are we ready for that?
I'm bracing myself.
Yes. Let's get it over with.
So, okay. So first off, MVG made a good video, and it brought up an interesting question that I thought we'd go over as well. But Nate, what happened with the Outer Worlds? Because you did a comparison. You had to edit that together. Okay, so you looked at that for at least 10 minutes.
10 minutes. I went through an hour and a half of footage for each version.
All right. Nate.
Well, basically, it's when you compare it to the Xbox One version, is the Switch version apparently takes place in a desert, and the Xbox One takes place in an oasis because there's no trees or any type of greenery in the Switch version. Everything's been reduced heavily, and there's a lot of pop-in, and the textures don't appear to load. And that's after a HD texture patch, so I don't even know what it looks like if you bought the physical copy and didn't patch the game. Somehow it will look worse than what it looks like, which is kind of mind-blowing. I almost want to buy the game on a cartridge and not update it just to see what it did look like. It's just a mess. It's a mess.
It is strange because Virtuos just did some good ports the week before with like BioShock and XCOM, right?
Did they though? Did they do good ports, or were they just ports? Do you see, what I'm saying? Like, I'm not discounting BioShock and
XCOM 2 though. I mean,
but there wasn't really anything special in those games. Like there was nothing Switch specific as in those games. Like there was no touch support in XCOM 2. There's no gyro in BioShock. I mean, yeah, they're good ports, but were they anything more than that? No, not really. And you could almost argue that, the Switch should be running those games at 60. And there was some patch that you can run with a modded system
for Borderlands too.
For Borderlands to run at 60. So is it impressive work, or is it just a serviceable port? And I guess that's really the question,
because then here comes Outer Worlds.
And Outer Worlds is almost a game you would look at in a vacuum and say, that version doesn't look that bad. And then once you stack it up against the other versions, that's when you begin to notice all the compromises and all the concessions that they had to make to get this port even viable on the Switch platform. And like the performance it starts off fine. When you play those first few hours, especially docked, you'll play the game and be like, okay, it's not that bad, until you're running through the world and you hit a loading screen mid-animation and a town pops up in front of you. And then you're like, okay, what the hell just happened? And that's distracting. And then you play it undocked, and it looks like a water painting from the Impressionist era. And you're like, I don't know what that blob is. And it's an enemy, but I had to wait for him to shoot at me because I didn't know if he was an enemy, a bush, or a bird.
I'm picturing you with a gun, be like, Van, go to hell.
I think that's the real problem is like it gets to the point where you don't even know what's going on screen because everything is
turn the brightness way up when you're playing in handheld mode. You can see things a little better, but I felt like I was in Ferris Bueller and I was the kid looking at the painting in the museum like, what is that?
It's not like me without my glasses.
It is. It's basically like we got to show somebody what it's like to be nearsighted. Just show them that, and it's like this is what it looks like. And it's weird because like the ground looks like a blurry mess. The grass is basically all the grass is basically the tree from Pokemon, the N64 tree, is what it is. It's not great, but MVG rolls in, hacks up the Switch, does all that, and gets it to look better. What'd you do, MVG?
So because it's running on Unreal Engine, and this is I take no credit for this, but on one of the forums on GBA Temp, there's a modding forum, and some smart people have come up with some config patches for Unreal Engine 4 that you can apply to the game to give some visual flair and quality to the game. So it will bring in things like the depth of field effect. It will bring in better textures on the ground, just overall better looking, game, and for really not much reduction in performance. So I wonder if Virtuos kind of held back on the game and made it kind of lower res than intended, and I'm hopeful, I have no idea if this is true, that they'll start to patch this game and start bringing some of these enhancements forward. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, I mean, you can make the game look pretty decent with some modding. It's still blurry, it's still low res, but you can make it look a lot nicer overall without much reduction in performance.
The weird thing with it, and like, I'm not going to put the blame on Virtuos here, because we've seen this a lot with Unreal Engine 4 games on the Switch, is that when they initially launch, they're usually, sub-native resolution, and then they get patches later on. Like, I can look at Rime, which was a disaster when it launched. It was blurry.
I remember that.
It was a mess. It stuttered all the time. And it took them a few months before they got a number of patches out that really improved the visual fidelity. So I'm wondering if Virtuos, if given, another 2 to 3 months, if they put out a patch that helps in these areas of concern right now. But this is the launch state. This is what we have to look at the game as, and it's a rough launch state. And I know like the counter can be, well, you can't play portable on any other platform, or it's better to have the Switch version than not have a version at all. And I mean, you can look at the comparison I did. You can watch Digital Foundry. I have undocked footage on the YouTube channel. If you can look at those and say, I'm okay with that visual resolution, with that fidelity, with that world detail, then go and enjoy the game, because the core game is a lot of fun.
But you bring that frame rate in though in a first person shooter like that, and you get below 20 frames per second in a shooter. It's not.
You know what, John? That's where when I made my video on it, looking at it, that's where, because I was gonna get the game and play it, and shout outs to YouTube for not getting me MVG's video, even though I'm subscribed and have the bell notified. Shout outs to them. But I'll watch it later. But when I was looking at the game and everything, like the frame rate was the biggest issue. Yes, the graphics, those are horrible, whatever. But I mean, I played Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is back when we play that game, it's a buggy, glitchy, and can sometimes look horrible, sometimes looks great. Mm-hmm. But the problem is like the frame rate, even like if you want to talk about just not to bring back Xenoblade, but Xenoblade, you can talk about the resolution, but at least the frame rate is intact, whether you're playing portable and you're playing dock, it's intact. This frame rate dipping down to like something like 18, like that's when I was like, okay, I can't play this at this point. I mean, I could, but they should have done something to make sure that frame rate is more stable, because I find that to be ridiculous. Like some of the, when they were showing because that directly affects the actual gameplay, along with the resolution stuff like that. But I mean, like this is the frame rate was the worst thing for me.
And it's the most expensive version too, because it's on Game Pass, and then it's half off on the PS4 right now. So it's like it's hard to recommend that kind of game for $60 when it's running that kind of performance.
Yeah, it's kind of a game I'd wait to see if they are able to patch it in the future, and hope they do.
Why did Virtuos make this port?
They were paid.
Why bring out this game for the Switch where it's clearly not cut out for it, other than they got paid?
That is a fair question. Is it because the quality of it, is it? Because a lot of people probably aren't going to recommend it after they buy it. Like you're gonna buy it, you're not gonna be like, oh, you should pick this game up on the Switch. It's just, you're trying to ask, do all games need to exist on the Switch if they're gonna look like this, basically?
Exactly. What was the point of Virtuosa's big song and dance that, hey, we can bring everything to the Switch?
Yeah,
sure,
right.
You can, but at what cost? I mean, this game barely runs, at a decent level of performance, and it doesn't look very good. So, should you just maybe not bring everything to the Switch and just bring the games that it's kind of meant for and made for? Or do you just, continue going down this path and really just bringing these kind of sub-quality ports over to the console?
What really gets me is that Skyrim is actually really good on the Switch.
I know.
That's the thing that gets me.
So many games. So, like when I was doing a side-by-side comparison of Xenoblade, which obviously is a very different project, I kind of just compared it visually to Breath of the Wild and showed like there are games that like are 1080p and somehow look 4K because they're just so good looking on the Switch. And then there's games that are so blurry and so messy. It's like, was this not done? Like, did you really expect people to buy this?
I'm telling you, MVG, that Switch, that's a little box instead of being a hand. I'm telling you that might be the way to go.
That M Classic thing.
No. Like we had kicked around the idea of Nintendo making a Switch that's only a console, basically, but like the PlayStation TV, and they wouldn't have the constraints of the battery, and they'd be able to probably cool it better and all this stuff. And then they just put the clocks way high up compared to the current Switch, and that was just an idea.
Can do that now, though. All it would require is a firmware update.
That's true. I wonder. Do you think Nintendo's worried about this? No, I don't want to say worried because they're not worried about anything because they're making a lot of money and they're bringing out some amazing games. But do you think that the next 3 years is going to be more difficult than the first 3 years as far as ports to the system if they just continue the system the way it is? That's kind of my concern that maybe some of these publishers may start to drop off because they realize they just don't have enough time and money to invest in getting a good quality port to the Switch without some type of mid-season refresh or iteration of the hardware. I'm not saying the Switch Pro. We're not talking about that at all. We're just talking about potentially something that may have, like Nate was alluding to, additional profiles unlocked with some more levels of performance that can help.
Can I speak on that? Because I don't really think. No, I knew it. I don't really. The thing about it is that there's not a lot of games coming over not at this point. Anything that does come over, it's all older games. So I think they're just going to continue doing what they've been doing. Older games. There's not a lot of new day and date games. There's only like a handful that we can even, like Mortal Kombat. Doom Eternal got delayed, right? So we have to wait and see how that is.
Interesting.
Yeah, Doom Eternal got delayed. Okay, the Outer Worlds, that was late. I mean, they might bring over some, but it's not like there's like a ton of them and it's going to be like, oh, snap, we're going to slow down a lot. There's not even a lot day and date right now. So I don't really think anything changes going into the next generation because they're not bringing over a lot day and date and they're not bringing over a lot of them anyway.
Somehow Kingdoms of Amalur wasn't even like going to the, I don't know how that didn't show up on the Switch, or Tony Hawk, or like,
or even like Darksiders 3. I mean, there's already a number of games that aren't coming over at this point. So I think the developers are just going to continue doing what they've always done, which is stuff like BioShock and which is like Borderlands.
It'll be interesting to see if THQ does moves Biomutant over, if they announce a Switch version of that.
Let me ask y'all, because many people on this panel are much more tech savvy than I am. Do you think that this is just kind of just a time thing, that developing is going to get harder and harder as the PlayStation 5 has solid state and stuff? It's going to cost too much and be too complicated to port future projects?
Some projects, yes. Any project that is made with the PS5 and Xbox Series X in mind that's taking advantage of the SSD feature is going to be very difficult to bring to the Switch. But anything that's based on like a last gen remaster, or if it's still using like a PS4 as the base, should still technically be possible. It's just going to be a question of when are we going to see that transition for third party partners fully commit to the PS5 and Xbox Series X generation and completely move on from the current gen systems.
So you think a lot of indie and some third-party stuff that's more backwards compatible conscious will make it over, but pretty much all the big crazy, like GTA 6 ain't coming over?
Yeah, the games that the Switch already is struggling to get from those big companies will continue to not happen. So, everyone says, oh, why aren't we getting Madden? Madden will continue not to happen. GTA 6, Splinter Cell, those type of quality, tier games.
Whoa, Splinter Cell, hold on.
Whoa. Just as a random example of a game. It has to come back eventually.
It did on a cell phone.
All right, we don't bring that up. It'll be interesting to see what Nintendo does with that, because I feel like they will have another Switch system in the family of Switch systems.
But
we could also. Oh, sorry, Miss Tech.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. We could also. I mean, we're talking about the companies that have failed us. Nintendo, if we really want to reach, they got IPs that they don't even need to do ports. They got so many IPs they're sitting on that people will play. People want. I mean, I can think of. And Dreamcast is probably going to have the cartridge right behind them, like 20, 30 games that you old boy, 20, 30 games that they could bring forward that I would play, and I would pay not $60, but Nintendo also doesn't know the definition of a sale, so maybe $60 to get these games over again, like Monster Bash.
I mean, they have the first party lineup they can sell an entire generation on. But once you start
touch them,
once you start thinking about some of these games being a portable experience, I think there are some people who get a lot more interested in it, especially as you get a little older and you might not have the TV available to you because the kids want to watch like Paw Patrol or something.
I actually despise that show, by the way. I think you're going through the Paw Patrol phase, John. Is that what's happening at your place?
Yeah.
Oh god, good luck, man. Have fun. I went through that phase.
Bubble guppies.
Oh god, stop it, please.
Bubble guppies. Woo.
Oh god, I'm so glad my daughter's older now. At least she likes SpongeBob now. She's into SpongeBob.
Yes.
The bubble guppy / Paw Patrol phase is not great for parents.
Let's go over to some of these super chats. It's from Symphonic Balance saying, "Good evening, Spawncast. Hope everyone is doing well. We were so close with PS5 game news that you could taste that new gen flavor on the horizon." Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that soon with the PS5 event being delayed, and then we get rumors around some Blue Point stuff. So we'll go over that soon. Dragon Fist says, "I'd love a Sonic Adventure collection."
Ooh, yeah.
I'd be all right with that. But that's Sega, so, wasted potential.
Yeah.
They're like,
you know what's a waste of potential?
Oh, this pile of money on the
anthology.
Wow.
Give me all the Yakuzas in a box set.
How long do you think that would take, Max, to play from start to finish with the whole box set?
All like 9 games?
If it was the whole anthology.
Your life.
Thousands of hours easily, yeah.
Ooh,
I've beaten all the English Yakuza games, and even just finishing the main story has taken me so long.
Mackenzie Peters says, "Oilers fan myself is that an Oilers jersey with a Flames hat? That's illegal. You can't be both of the teams, both are heated rivals. No hard feelings."
I'm sorry.
She's not American.
I'm rocking my Oilers jersey. I got my my Flames hat. My whole mentality is, as long as it stays in Alberta, I really don't care where it goes.
There we go. Juice Man Vaughn says, Mancala is the best game on Clubhouse Games. Carlos Ramirez says, COVID has disrupted the development. Do you think indie developers, Team Cherry, will enjoy a boom period with a possible major publisher drought?
I don't think so. Seeing big AAA games that are trying to get advertised, like Amazon just released a game. It's already down to 500 concurrent players.
Oh, that's right.
$400 million budget to make it. They spent millions trying to advertise it. 500 concurrent players, and it is a free-to-play online game. I think that good games will definitely rise to the top and probably get extra money out of this COVID thing because people are bored and they want to play a cheap, fun experience. But I think average games are still going to sink like a rock.
Let me have Hytham saying, "Did any of you guys notice that Halo was once going to go on a DS until the development was canceled? And do you guys think the Master Chief Collection will come to the Switch?" Made a whole video on that, didn't they, MVG? It was Sean.
Video. It was a good video too.
It was,
about Halo on the DS.
That was a whole thing. I thought. I don't know.
I remember watching it back when IGN actually showed it off for the first time, because like I was really big into IGN when the founders were there, like Casumcina and everything. And I remember watching. I was like, oh snap, it was real, because people gave them crap for years, and they actually found that, or they actually got a demo build of it or whatever running on the DS. So yeah, it was interesting.
I mean, Halo was on the Mac system for a while too, so.
There was that rumor that Halo was going to go to the Switch at some point. That kind of disappeared.
I love it, honestly. I did a video a while ago of top 10 games, Xbox One games specifically I wanted on the Switch, and number one for me was definitely Master Chief.
Nate, whatever happened to that Halo rumor?
It was way too early.
Ooh. Oh, that was a while ago, though. So.
It was way too early for that rumor to come up. It was silly.
Okay.
Because projects change on the fly. It could have been planned that day and canceled the next.
Ethan R says OJ is a Mario Kart fraud, and then Juice Man Vaughn follows up and says, OJ, how you gonna let Ethan call you out like that?
Ethan's an idiot.
You're just gonna let him talk to you like that, though?
Ethan, I'm gonna block this dude begged me to unblock him on Twitter. I blocked him.
And he added us.
Yeah, he tried to clout chase and tag you, and nobody responded to him. And after nobody responded to him, he was like, "All right, please unblock me. Nobody's responding. I quit." Ethan, chill, bro. He begged me to. I blocked him. He begged me to unblock him. Now you're gonna sit here and talk smack.
Need a big mad in the chat. A big mad.
No, shout outs to Ethan. He's a really smart and funny kid. He's funny.
And 2 says, will Babylon's Fall ever release?
No.
I kind of forgot about that game, to be honest.
Wait,
that's gone the way of Scalebound.
Babylon's Fall? That's not PS. That's Platinum. Right? Wait a minute, hold up. Didn't they had a new trailer on that game not too long ago?
It was God's Fall.
It was months ago, right? I thought it was a couple months ago they had that.
Yeah, that's what's wrong?
I just keep forgetting about that game because for a while they didn't say anything. Then they put I think it was a quick trailer on Twitter, and then they kind of went quiet again for a while. So it just hasn't had a lot of press or marketing, and we're coming up to the end of the generation. So I think people are like, is it going to release before the PS5 or?
Yeah. What's the game you guys are expecting to be on the next gen? I'm expecting Skyrim and GTA 5 to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
Skyrim's got to be on everything.
Skyrim has to be there.
They're going to find a way to put Doom 1 on there.
Right.
Rayman 2.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Ooh,
that game used to be ported to everything, and then they stopped this gen. It makes me sad, because Rayman 2
Rayman Legends
took it over.
Rayman Legends is on everything, so...
Yeah, but that's not Rayman 2.
This is a good one to go into the Sega topic with. Then I'll come back for the Streamlabs stuff. Saying Will says Sega's announcements are for Japan, not the U.S. Other markets exist, and they are often different to the U.S. I don't understand why anyone in the U.S. would be upset by what is being released exclusively in Japan. Okay, so let's go into this Sega, this Game Gear Micro. Okay. The Game Gear, but the Game Gear Micro. Okay, so this is coming out in, I believe it's October, and it's going to be 4 different Game Gear Micros. Each one will have 4 different games on it, and some of the selections are weird. Like I think one of them has like all of the old Shin Megami games on it, it's very strange. There's 4 different colors as well. It's like the black variant, and they also have blue variant, red, and yellow as well. And they are like almost keychain sized. They're quite small, and they are what appears to be about $45 each.
So dumb. So
the screen is an inch diagonal. It says.
How much is that big screen enhancement for it?
Well, yeah. So you get that. Yeah, you get that if you buy all of them together as a special bundle, which is
$200.
You get the big screen enhancement. So dumb.
Yes, you get the big screen enhancement. I don't really know what Sega's doing with this. Can someone help me out here?
They surely just have to be collectible.
Yeah, I mean, but they're expensive. My price is the biggest thing, and the size.
Well, I will agree. Yeah, but the fact that you can't even really use them,
size
like I would
matter.
consider them. Well, people thought Joy-Cons were tiny, right? Like,
you can't
God
see
dang,
it.
you gotta like hold the controller like this, like with your little meaty claws.
Yeah.
So this is the Game Boy Micro. Everybody remember this thing, super old, and at the time it was criticized for being too tiny. This screen is 50% bigger, or actually I bet you it's almost twice as big as the Game Gear Micro is going to be. Look how tiny this is compared to an actual Game Gear. It's like invisible. I mean, the Game Gear's and also here's the Sega Nomad. Okay, I'm done.
It is.
Stop going to your show.
You have all, no, I demand to know how you have all this ready.
He's just a bag of holding next to him. He's just reaching
We're
into
gonna
it.
talk about this. Let me get this close. Okay, we got this.
I look at the stream title and I see what we're going to talk about, and I surround myself with the games.
Okay, I'm not hating. That's cool. I'm just wanting to know.
Yeah, so I see this 4 different Game Gears. They're all tiny, and I think I just wanted, like, the Game Gear is not a bad idea, but if it was the Genesis Mini, that idea where it's one system, it has like 20 games on it or something, and it's like $60 to $80 somewhere in there. Like that'd be so much better. This thing, these things take AAA batteries and they last 3 hours.
Wait, 3 hours is the real battery life?
That is the real battery life. And they said in an interview, all right, get this, they wanted to be as authentic as possible, so they wanted to try to get the same battery life as what the actual Game Gear has.
So 20 minutes. Cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong, don't they have like, doesn't it have like a mini HDMI port on the back?
It has a USB, mini USB, so you can still be tethered to the wall just like we were with the original Game Gear. And I don't think it has any kind of TV out either.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it has a headphone jack.
It's so tiny.
So it can power your headphones too, and just immediately drain it.
I know. Well, I feel like the headphone jack is going to go practically through it. I mean, this thing is so, I can't really overestimate how tiny this thing is. So it's, my headphones, I'm going to be able to put it inside my earbud like this and be like, oh, here's my Game Gear.
I think it's like this is like a remote for like my face. It's like about the size of like this.
Oh my God. Yep, that's accurate.
It's about
like
the size of the, it's about this size right here. And it's absolutely, it's ridiculously tiny, but I think it's not to play, guys. I mean, it's a collectible.
It's not to play.
Yeah, it's not to play.
$50 is a lot for a little collectible.
Isn't it like those little tiny arcade machines you can buy that have like the little tiny joystick that actually work and all that?
Yeah, but how much are those usually, Jordan? Those are pretty cheap, aren't
like 30 to 50. No, like 30 to 50.
I thought they were like $25.
Some of them go low, but like there's some good ones.
I'd have to see the price on them. But you're right.
They're all just novelties in general. The reason it's 50 is because it's the nostalgia speaking to people.
I hate the novelty defense, and I know you're not giving it fringe, but people kept saying it because I did a video on it this week, and a lot of people said I was being fair and balanced. But I kept having people who were saying like it's novelty. You can't attack novelty. In my opinion, the point of novelty is.
I think it's stupid.
I know. I'm battling the straw man, not you. I'm so annoyed by that. Like, if it's novelty, it could be $800.
What were you trying to say, Miss Glick?
No, I was just saying I never thought I would ever see a Tamagotchi be so appealing to me in comparison. I'm just saying, I would rather pick up a Tamagotchi right now.
Oh man.
I mean, hey, look, it's 4 games on there, right? So let's say
I could have spent $50 on Sonic.
4 games. So what are virtual console games these days, or not anymore?
So
but like,
here's a virtual console.
There is no virtual console, but back when we had it,
Here's my other concern with this. The screen is just over an inch diagonal to diagonal, and some of those games, they have RPGs on there, text-heavy RPGs. How are you how are you going to be reading the text on
the magnifying? Did you see the little magnifying adapter?
Yeah, but you only get that.
You get it for $200. Yeah,
you have to buy all 4 of them to get that.
So buy all 4 of them, you cheapskate.
I'm importing one of them.
Buy him, boy.
I tried to
Why don't you buy him then, John?
I specifically tried to beat Final Fantasy IV on the Game Boy Micro, and this, which is double the size.
Do you hate yourself?
It was I thought about killing myself a few times, and instead I just beat the game. But it was so slow. It was so I would have to literally hold it like this. I was so.
I'm gonna import one of them. I gotta figure out which one I would import. Maybe I almost want to grab one that has an RPG on it, just see the overall text. But one of them has Gunstar Heroes, so it might just be that.
That's the best.
Whoa, no way!
I think that's the good one they have in terms of like overall game quality.
That's the blue. That's the blue one, I think.
Yeah, Gunstar.
That one has Sonic and Tails.
What's on the red one?
That's all the Shin Megami games, and then get this, Columns.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks,
Shibagami columns.
You need something to chill.
People here were saying
At least there's no Sonic.
potential.
You need something to kind of chill out, because those old school Shin Megami Tensei games, they will piss you off. So you need something just to relax. So let's just throw in some columns in there. You know what I'm saying? Let's just chill after playing these Shin Megami Tensei.
And then when you get crab hands because the thing is this big,
well, if you're playing,
just chill out.
I just don't think people are going to be playing on that.
Somebody's going to play it. You know somebody is.
But then
There's
they
going
can't
to be a
complain
YouTube video of someone beating a tough game.
That's true, but you can't complain then, because we all know good and well that this is not something to where it's supposed to be playing for long periods of time. It's supposed to be like, hey, look, this little Game Gear thing, you can play it, it's cool, it actually works. But people buy statues and little other things for way more, right?
Let's be real. Most people are going to buy this, OJ, like you're saying. They're just going to leave it in the box.
I'm probably going to make a video and then put it on my shelf and never touch it again.
That's probably what's going to happen. That's why they're all different. That's why you got the yellow and the red and all this stuff, so you can just kind of stack them all up and be like, I got them all, and that's it.
Yeah.
It costs $200, but I got them.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, it's kind of cool.
Do with $200.
It's cool. At the end of the day, it's kind of cool, right? To have these little miniature Game Gears.
But we just talked about Sega and their wasted potential.
Well, I know. Look, I've been saying this. They're wasting potential. I know.
This could have been
maybe it's time for Sega to pack it up. They've just been going on for too long. Need a break.
If the Yakuza anthology ever comes out and it's less than $200, I'm gonna burn Sega down.
This could have been something. This could have been a Saturn Mini.
Dreamcast Mini.
Right?
A Dreamcast Mini.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Even if it was just an actual Game Gear Mini that was, good, then people would have been really excited about it. I think the idea of it.
This feels like a 90s idea that you would hook onto your backpack or keychain with your Tamagotchi that tried to happen in 2020.
For sure.
It's just definitely missed potential there. But we don't even know if it's going to come out outside of Japan. It might just stay in Japan.
I doubt it.
I mean, it's just gonna stay in Japan.
Yeah, it's doesn't fit the US market. It's just way too small. I mean, it's a cool collectible, but I think people are just going to import it.
Yeah. I will. I'll grab one of them. I just got. It's probably going to be the one with Gunstar and Sonic.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. I think it's a cool little.
It takes triple A's though. What?
Not weird. The trailers they showed.
Takes triple A's.
The trailers they showed were all in Japanese with the games.
Yeah, so it's probably even any of the RPGs not even be worth to grab and play through. So basically, Gunstar Heroes it is. But that was not their big announcement. The big announcement that we got to crazy speculation of where they would rename the Xbox Series X the Sega Series X, and this got wild. All right, this got a bit out there, and it turns out they're going to do something called fall gaming. That's what they called it, not cloud gaming, fall gaming. The idea here is that they will stream arcade machines from the arcade to your house, which George just immediately went face to hand. Immediately, it was just Jordan. You want to reflect on that for a second? Is that why you just immediately did that?
I mean, you're not going to be able to do it, Jordan. These are arcades in Japan, so.
No.
That was the PS5 level. That was the game-changing announcement, Jordan. The PS5 level.
They're really out here, really spinning the game industry on its head. This is insane, guys. I'm really excited to stream an arcade machine now. This is the point we're at.
Let's take it back a bit.
I want the arcade machine. I don't want to stream the arcade machine. I want to play.
You're not going to stream the arcade machine because it's not coming to America.
So
you're gonna be playing at 300 ping. It's gonna be great.
In Japan, the arcades are very, very popular in Japan. So their idea is to stream it. So whenever they're closed, they can still kind of be open as an arcade. And they want to get it down to 1 millisecond as they want the overall speed to be back and forth for delay. So I don't know how well that'll work because that's Sega. Hey, we're going to do this. It's definitely not coming out of Japan. That's Japan only pretty much. So that'll stay there. But it's such a weird announcement.
Everything I hear from my friends in Japan are they love this idea because what they think of is they like to go to the arcades and they play Initial D. And now it's I can play this at home when the arcades are closed. I can play on the weekends without having to go to the arcade. And they view this as a huge revenue stream for Sega, and that companies like Konami and Namco they may eventually adopt this, and they can boom the arcade industry even bigger in Japan. And it's tough for us to understand this in American because we just talked about the arcades early.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there saying, I don't go to the arcades. The arcade machines are at the movie theaters. So we really don't have a one-to-one comparison to make here. But for like Japan, this could be a potentially huge move for Sega.
How are you going to play games like Initial D that require, a steering wheel? Is everyone going to get a steering wheel?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, this is a good question by Jordan. What platform is it streaming to at your house?
Wait, they obviously didn't detail the whole platform.
That's my concern. I almost feel like this is an idea that Sega has, and they're like, "This is what we're gonna do," and they don't have like everything figured out as to how they're gonna do it yet.
I think it would just be like just stream like internet, like a PC, or maybe they'll try to work out a deal for PlayStation and Switch. Yeah,
maybe Switch.
Yeah, PlayStation. Just like you just stream
cell phones. Maybe
cell phones. It's just gonna be like probably cell phones will be like the number one target for them.
Probably.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be the number one.
You got games on your phone.
Well,
I got Flappy Bird
in the chat. How is it being negative? Because it caters to the Japanese audience, and you're not in Japan. So me saying, "Oh, it doesn't cater to America, but it's good for Japan," if that's negative to you, then you're an idiot.
I'm cool with it. Like,
I might be mixing up some news posts that I was reading from a while ago, but there was a lot of laws changing, I thought, in Japan that were causing certain arcades to have to spend more into the government to stay open. So like this might also just be a way to keep that going.
This might also be, I think some people kind of forget the fact that Sega makes so many hundreds of millions of dollars every single year just on arcade machines. That is a huge part of their revenue now. So I bet more than anything, this is just them trying to invent like a currency system. Like I bet you'll be able to access every one of their games through the fog, and they'll have a thing called the Sega Wallet. I think a lot of these companies now like the idea of you giving them real money and they give you fake money. And like, okay, you could play it for 25 yen each or whatever. I think this is just a way of like...
Don't give them ideas.
Nate, let's be real here. They hyped that announcement up way more than it should have been.
No, they didn't hype it up. He hyped it up
for the person market,
and that's who it was for, and it's a big announcement for them. Western audiences hyped it up, and it didn't live up to what we expected because we thought it was going to be a PS5 tier thing. And for the Japanese arcade audience, it is PS5 tier. This is something that is going to revolutionize the way Sega and Konami and Namco address the arcade situation. This is a huge revenue stream for them of where they can constantly cater to their audience without the arcades having to be open.
So is it more exciting than the Game Gear Micro?
Everything is more exciting than the
game. Setting the bar pretty low there.
Gosh. Hey, Nate made it out like people were excited for that Game Gear Micro for a minute.
No, nobody. I don't even think Japan's excited for it. Everyone I talk to in Japan loves the arcade announcement, and nobody even talked about the Game Gear announcement.
Oh man.
It's not like if you're in North America that if you really want to play arcade games, you cannot go onto Internet Archive. They're the Internet Archive. They archive everything, and there's a ton of arcade games there that you play directly.
Are you being paid by
don't
the
be mad,
emulator companies? You've been plugging those emulators hard this show.
God, I wish I was. I just like to play genuine games where I don't have to spend $120. I'm looking at you, Anthem.
What?
Love it, but took all my money.
So I will give them this. Sega their fall gaming actually seems to have a purpose and a reason to exist, which is technically more than what I can say for Stadia. So I'll give them that at least. They have a reason to exist there. It ties in and it has a purpose and makes sense for the Japanese audience. So I'll give them that. Evan, we have another Discord question we can go over.
If Sony has Metal Gear at their event, how would you like it to be represented? As like a remake, a remaster, collection, or a new title?
You got to remake that thing. Remake one. We're good to go.
I say go back before anything. I think that they should remake Metal Gear for the NES, remake that like in the Metal Gear Solid style and call it like Metal Gear Origins.
Because it is key to the story. Like it is actually
It is,
part
yeah.
of it.
They reference it all the time. Like Shadow Moses Island is talked about constantly and stuff.
I'm a big Metal Gear fan as well. And who would they get to do that? That's the thing that I'm like, yeah, that's good. But
guess who's back, ladies and gentlemen?
Kojima's in.
For sure. But no, OJ's exactly right. Who would develop it? Like, who could we trust to do Metal Gear right?
Kojima
the guy
obviously
did Death Stranding.
Well,
I agree, Spree. Yeah, Death Stranding was a good game.
There's two games, Metal Gear Solid 5, the Death Stranding. I'm just saying, bro. It's kind of.
I mean, Blue Point seems kind of busy right now, based on what we're going to be going into soon, and that's who I'd want to give them a shot at doing it. But I mean, we're talking like a full-on remake.
I don't know. I'm kind of thinking they better off just be doing like a really high quality remaster of like the old games, just like Metal Gear Solid 3, like getting that like 1080 like or 4K 60 or something like that, and like just like upgrading the texture quality. Like I think that might be a better option.
But I think the first one is legendary enough to where they could do that bit. They could justify putting the money in for a big enough remake and then market it and put it out. I feel like it would sell pretty well.
I think it would, but that just seems like so much work. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I would love it, but I mean, like you'd have to really put a lot of time and effort into something like that for it to be like on like, are we talking like PS5 and Series X, right? Or are we talking like PS4?
I bet I would look at Sony as actually trying to pull that in for just a PS5 exclusive.
Oh man, that would take in a lot of money, man. Like that would be crazy. That would take a lot. I mean, when you look at that game, how in depth it is, right? And to get it up to the standards of what Sony gamers would want, right? Like their exclusives. It, like, man, that would be a big undertaking. I don't know who they get to do it, to be honest, man. Because like you'd have to do a lot of different things with that for it to be. You know, but I mean, heck, you know, I'd be down. I'd buy it again. I love Metal Gear.
Do we have another Discord question, Evan?
What new IP would you like to see from the Microsoft or Sony event? And that's like genre, because I mean we can't exactly just invent.
I thought we said that. Did we say this last week too? Because I
think
OJ,
someone
you
else
said a JRPG from Microsoft's camp, basically. I thought it was what you said, like a new JRPG from Microsoft.
What was the question again?
What new IP?
If
genre?
a new IP were to pop up at either of these events, what would it be like in terms of genre? What would you want?
Oh, of course, some stupid JRPG or something. Some action RPG or JRPG or something like that. Or just not even, just like a Mass Effect style like RPG. Something because like this generation, man, like last generation we got like Skyrim and we got Oblivion and we got Skyrim, we got Fallout, we got multiple Fallout games that were good, we got multiple Mass Effect games that were good. Look at this generation, like what happened to those type of what happened to all those franchises, you know? Like Fallout 4 was okay, but then we got Fallout 76. Then like Mass Effect Andromeda was trash. Anthem failed, you know, like there's no new Skyrim. There's no new Skyrim. We gotta so like I would like to see.
There is No Man's Sky. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So when it comes to like those really dope, you know, action RPGs that we got from the last gen, this gen kind of failed from those big Western ones. We got Witcher, which is dope, you know, but a lot of the ones that I was talking about, those franchises are just kind of like, you know, like we got Outer Worlds, but that came at the very end. So I'd like to see something like that, you know.
I think more games with personality. I want more stuff that has like funniness woven into it. I feel like games are either super serious or super wacky. I want more games like I don't know, like I like the way that Fallout did it, where Fallout was satirical and would have weird quests where you're helping somebody collect their own bones and stuff. Like I miss when games were just like funny in a more subtle art.
Yeah, Microsoft needs to kick the door down and bring back Conquer.
Yeah,
that's like
dude, I would love Jade. I know the floor hugger was talking about Jade Empire. Jade Empire coming back in some way, that'd be sick because it was like a martial arts action RPG.
Yeah, it was kind of strange, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a strange concept because there wasn't really too much.
It's backwards compatible on the Xbox One X right now too.
It is.
That's true. I played it.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's really good. Jade Empire is fantastic.
Let's go over to Streamlabs. Mac Mega says, "What is the best game release of 2020 so far?"
That's difficult. I was thinking.
People remember Doom?
We'll say Doom's up
People
there.
keep forgetting Doom Eternal. That's a good point. People keep forgetting about that. I beat it and I forgot about it.
I like it. I think it's that I beat it so quick and then I spent so much time on Animal Crossing. I've been thinking about this a lot. I do think that by 1%, I do think I give it to Final Fantasy VII
Remake. Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
But to me, Doom Eternal is right there under it. Right there. I mean, it's such a close runner-up.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. Yeah, that's what I'm leaning with right now.
2020 has already been like 10 years long.
It's true.
Right?
It was a decade.
It's been a decade, yeah.
We're only 6 months in still. We got a whole bunch of releases that are supposed to come out in the next few months here. So I don't know yet.
Won't be Last of Us 2. That's free.
I've said this before. I still think we haven't even seen 60% of the games that are coming out this year. I still believe we're going to see so many reveals.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I'm eyeing up Ghost of Tsushima right now, and I'm looking at that like, that might be the next one to come up that takes out Final Fantasy.
That's our new Death Stranding. We need it.
I know. Oh, look, I saw some combat in there. All right.
Hold it down and beat it up.
Cyberpunk's probably going to be the big one.
I could see Cyberpunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be it. We'll see. And then we have Sam saying this week's announcement. Maybe understand why Sega is still around. Sega is here to put things into perspective. Think 10.3 teraflops is bad. Game Gear Micro is waiting right here.
Oh, damn.
You're wrong. Yeah. VG Mobster says, huge shout out to Dreamcast Guy and RGT85 for contributing to my What Got You Started in Gaming collab video. I was humbled by them taking the time to help a beginning YouTuber make an amazing gaming video. Thank you again, guys.
That was fun. Yeah, he got a bunch of different YouTubers to just film like 60 seconds of their gaming origins. Specifically, I really liked RGT told the story of like a family member basically guiding him through his first games. It was a great video. Props to that dude.
And then a big shout out to Shamsa once again. Thanks to Shamsa. Mac Mega says, if a dock-only Switch were to be released, is it possible it would be stronger than the current iterations we have? I mean, MVG, if they just took the clocks and bumped them up because they wouldn't have to worry about thermals necessarily inside of it with a battery or anything. I don't think they'd increase the RAM, although there are those profiles inside the firmware that are saying it's possible. Yeah. I mean, I feel like they would keep the specs the same. They would just maybe do something with the heatsink and fan and stuff to make it run cooler if they did higher clocks. I would agree with that. I don't think they could actually increase the RAM on like a mid-season refresh. I don't think that makes any sense because that would make, I mean, essentially then you have literally two different profiles, many more profiles now that you incorporate new RAM into the equation. So I don't think that's feasible. It is interesting because they did it with the new 3DS. So it does always make you think about that. You're like, well, they kind of did it with the new 3DS. So I guess it's possible, but I feel like it's not likely. And then I think that's okay. Yes, that's everything over on Streamlabs. Let's go over here to the PlayStation 5 event, which was supposed to have been on Thursday, was postponed. Sony went ahead and postponed that, released a statement on Twitter, and we don't know when it's going to happen now. We're still waiting. So I don't know if everything got pushed back kind of a week, actually. EA's event got pushed back. It's seemingly a week. There was supposed to be that Guerrilla Games Collective that was going to be happening. That got pushed back a week. Basically, everything just got pushed back. All right, so and now we're all kind of hanging out waiting for the PlayStation 5 event. Does anyone have any guess when they're going to try and do it now?
I've seen a rumor circulate, and some people have been saying the 10th because they want to have that gap of the 10th because all the Last of Us 2 reviews are dropping on the 12th. So I do think they want to try and get at least a day or two before that.
That's too early.
You think it'd be the 11th or the 12th?
No, I think it's even this coming week.
Yeah, it's the week after. I
agree. I think it's the third week of
18th or 19th, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say that'd be a good bet to hedge.
All right, that'll work then. That's that's probably is because you have a bunch of third parties we assume that are also a part of this. So I'd be surprised if something doesn't leak out of that event by then, if they're going all the way to the 18th or 19th. That'll be interesting to see because we're already talking now apparently, and Nate, you can talk a little bit about this as well because you just randomly tweeted it online about Bloodborne apparently being moved to the PS5 and the PC by Bluepoint.
What do you know?
Yeah, what's this about, Nate? All of a sudden I see this show up. I see this pop up and I'm like, oh, Bluepoint's supposed to be working on Demon Souls. They're supposed to show that at the PS5 event. And then it's like, oh, they're also working on Bloodborne. I
only said there was some truth to the rumor. I did not validate the entire rumor.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so there's the PC and the PS5. I feel like PS5 is more likely for Bloodborne than PC.
Well, I'd say you might not be completely right there.
Interesting. So PC, because Bloodborne's still kind of stuck right now at PS4 base levels here. Doesn't have that pro patch or anything.
True,
that like helps it.
PC has more credibility to it from what I have heard, and I mean, there's the rumor had all the details, 60 frames a second, better textures, and Digital Foundry has an excellent video of I think it's a hacked version of Bloodborne on believe it was PS4 at 60 frames a second, and the game looks phenomenal. It's so smooth and beautiful.
It needs it too. It does need it. Yeah.
So, I mean, right now I would probably lend more support towards the PC version happening, because we've seen Sony be a little more open about bringing their games to PC. We have Horizon. So, I mean, bringing something like Bloodborne over at this point, I mean, we're what now? 5 years?
It's been a while.
Since the original game came out. So, this is just an idea people have to kind of accept. Sony is going to bring more of their first-party games to PC. It might be 3 years after they come out on the PS5, but they are going to bring some of their franchises over.
Yeah, but Bloodborne hasn't been doing much of anything up until now anyway. So it's like if they put it on PC, they're just all of a sudden going to find a bunch of money.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it's like...
So that's where it's a good move for them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, it seems like everyone wants Bloodborne on PC. Like when it gets posted on Twitter, it blew up and people got really excited about that idea. But that would mean, I assume that means that it wouldn't be at the PS5 event then. It would just be like some kind of PR drop. Like they would just put a press release out and they're like, hey, Bloodborne's coming to PC. Similar to what they did with Horizon Zero Dawn.
I would not expect to see Bloodborne at the PS5 event.
Yeah, I would expect, Bluepoint would be also helping move it over to PC. That surprised
I have
me
not heard anything to suggest Bluepoint is involved.
That's why, I saw that and I said, why would Bluepoint's supposed to be doing Demon Souls, and that's apparently a really big project. Why would they also be like, oh, we'll do Bloodborne too?
What if they're not doing Demon Souls? What if the Demon Souls is Bloodborne?
What if they're doing Metal Gear Solid?
Ooh.
We're getting off the rails here.
What's that, Nate?
What if they're doing Legend of Dragoon?
Oh gosh.
Oh, yeah. Let's
Oh no, Skater XL's delayed.
Yeah, I know. It hurt me too.
Oh no.
It got pushed. I was playing it.
So crushed.
I was playing it earlier today too, and they have the skate park added in with the mini ramp. They add that in on the beta.
Dang it! Just when you thought I wasn't gonna still care, I still don't.
You're gonna play that game, Jordan. You're gonna play that game.
We'll see.
I feel like it'll come out and you'll want to play it.
We'll see.
Yeah, probably, but we'll see.
Everyone's gonna play it. You'll play it. Nate will play it.
What?
Sean will play it. All of you will complain about it, and I'll be over here doing all the cool tricks.
Skatebird?
Skatebird got delayed till next year.
Son of a bitch.
That game's never coming out.
Don't you watch news?
Just the bird on a skateboard. How hard is it?
Hold on. Hey, they're putting in an entire story mode in this game with an actual narrative.
No.
That explains how the bird came to be the greatest skateboarder of all time.
Oh my God.
Or at least of the bedroom.
He was in
skating around.
He was in Tony Hawk's Project 8.
Is he the goose from Untitled Goose Game?
No, it was like a little yellow like bird. You don't see him skating around, and okay.
I thought it was just the goose. He stole someone's like skateboard to town in England. Now that's a good origin story.
I mean, if we want a great origin story, gaming skate, Tony Hawk Underground's still the greatest out there.
Yep, just gotta buy Tony Hawk 1 and 2, right, Jordan?
Yep, just buy that remake and maybe we'll see Underground come out of the underground again.
Yeah, brother.
Just buy the game, okay? It's $40.
I'm still excited. I'm still excited for that PS5 event. It's just gonna be another, we think, like 10 days, 12 days or so.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a little bit.
It's gonna be a good event.
I'm disappointed that we have to wait. I want it right now. I understand that we have to wait, but I wish it was right now.
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah, people are disappointed,
wait.
but you know, they're gonna wait. So, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be one of those moments where they'll have the event, and then all of a sudden, a ton of news will come out. Like all the games will put the press releases out. It'll just be a massive explosion of news. We'll probably see the PlayStation 5. I'm still trying to figure out if it's going to be the two-tone color of the controller. I assume it will, but it's going to be something else when that event happens. And oh wait, isn't there supposed to be a Microsoft thing happening too?
That's July something, right?
No, I mean, like, I thought there was supposed to be something else from Microsoft.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. That's something about a lot.
The Xbox and
Yeah, I still thought it was Lockhart, but I don't know. I don't know what they'll do.
Who knows anymore?
I figured it would be Lockhart that they would unveil.
Sony needs to get on their PS Now and make that better, because that's a hot garbage fire right there.
PlayStation Now. At least you can download some of the games at least now.
Do they need to make it better? Or can they, just, they can just not worry about it at all if they want.
I mean, if they're gonna do the Horizon way, keep doing it, Sony. Do that way, but if they want to stay with their historically stubborn ways, make it better. I didn't spend all this money to build my stuff so I can stream on your stuff.
Let's
My Stadia if I want it to be unreliable.
It's an option. So I mean, if you're spending money on something that's crap, we know. I mean, I'm just saying, because the PlayStation Now, sir, or whatever it is, it's crap. Well, there's no need to spend any money on it, and you're good. You know, like, but put that money towards their games or put that money towards other stuff. I don't know, these streaming services and stuff. I'm good on all that. So
Evan, we got any Discord
what they
questions
need.
over there left? What do they need for Hugger?
Life of Black Tiger 2.
I know. Game of the generation.
Right?
There you go. Day one.
Gaudy. Decade game.
Evan, we have any Discord questions left?
Last Discord question. What's a very special moment you remember from playing a game? And I'm going to start this because it's not just, I don't think it's just about the game itself, but in middle school, me and about 15 other people did a 3-day birthday party. My buddy rented a second N64 and we all just played GoldenEye for 3 days, basically.
Oh, dude, I remember renting
God.
N64s from I think it was California Video was what the place was called. You rent N64 because you rent the system, you get 2 controllers that comes with it, and you get to pick out 3 games.
Yep.
And I have no idea how much it costs. I have no idea how much it cost. But I remember we'd do that. We'd rent 2 other controllers, and we'd get Mario Kart, I think Mario Party, and then we would just rent Pokemon Snap or something just for fun. Those were the days, renting a Nintendo 64 for the weekend.
Well, that was the second one. We basically had 2 running for 8 people to play and just rotate between them. It was great.
Those were the days.
I had a time where this kid who lived across town, we both went to the same high school, but he lived really far away, and he had Resident Evil Code Veronica and Dreamcast, and he was the only other person I knew who had a Dreamcast. And he said that if I walked over his house after school, he'd lend me the game, and it took me 3 or 4 hours round trip to walk there, get the game, and walk back. And when I sat down and played it and watched that opening cutscene, it was the first time I really saw crazy graphics and realistic 3D models and stuff. So it's one of the things that sticks in my mind just because of that.
Okay, very cool. Let's go over to some of these super chats. Yeetman says, "Do you think Switch needs a pro version?"
Yes.
I wouldn't mind one as an option, as long as all the games play across all the platforms. So there's multiple Switch units, obviously, the regular Switch, the Switch Lite, then a Switch Pro, and then a docked only Switch. I don't mind as long as the games all play on all the platforms. They're just more options, so why not? So, yes, I would like it. What do you think, MVG? You want that Switch?
Yeah.
You want that Switch Pro?
Yeah. I want any new hardware that gets released. Give it to me. Give it
just
to me.
New
now.
hardware. New hardware is just fun. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and this is NSG Reviews has codes, although people probably already grabbed them, but they were dropping different codes in the super chats for people, I guess, as giveaways. There's Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast here. Looks like an eShop code as well, from what I can tell. I have to imagine somebody grabbed that already, but if not, I'll drop it in the chat anyway. There we go. There we go. Thanks, NSG Reviews. Appreciate that. I'm trying to go down to where I left off here. Okay, here we go. This is from Nick saying, "Has anyone here heard of the Wooger yet? Haptic feedback for sound changed gaming for me entirely. P.S. Let's get Hey Jay on the podcast sometime." We can get Jay on the podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we can do that. Haptic feedback for sound. Because the rumble motors in the Switch can do sound. If you play Mario Party, it'll rumble and it'll play a sound through that vibration, which is kind of neat when it's your turn. Or if you beat Kirby, it plays a whole song. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see that. Edward King says, "Anyone been playing Dungeons?" Minecraft Dungeons. I've heard it 70 and 75 Metacritic, but seen literally everyone having so much fun with it. We talked a little bit about it, I think last week, Miss Clicks, you were playing it as well.
Yep.
Somewhat. It's a more simplistic Diablo, so I played it some, and then I kind of moved on because of that. Did you play any more of it?
I played a little bit, not too much, just because we've been kind of doing Xenoblade. I played a little bit offline, but no, it is fun, especially if you are newer to the dungeon crawler scene. If you're not, obviously you might get a little bored, but it is fun with friends. I don't think I dealt with any like connection issues on the Switch version.
I could see it being. I could see it being more
on
fun,
PC though.
Oh, okay. I can see it being more fun with friends because it's more pick up and play for people who might not really be into Diablo or like those kind of looter dungeon crawlers.
No, it's great to play with friends. I was watching Philly and like Austin play the dungeons together the other day, and they were like screaming at each other. It was great. Great times.
Jalen says shout outs to the Spawncast crew. Thanks, Jalen. Ryan says I vote for a Max Payne remaster trilogy. Wow. And did any of you play the Godfather game? It's my guilty pleasure. I read the Godfather game back in the day, but I would love to have a Max Payne remaster trilogy. Absolutely. Max Payne 3, by the way, on PC still looks amazing if you fire it up.
It's a beautiful looking game.
Yes, I would. I
just did a retrospective on the Godfather 1 game.
It's a good game.
It holds up.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. They're GTA. They're time travel GTA, basically.
I think I remember Scarface as well back in the day on the PS2. I thought that was pretty good.
The World Is Yours. Yeah, that's a good game.
A lot of cocaine in that game.
Then NSG reviews. Dropped Clubhouse Games 51, a code for that in the Super Chat. I'll just drop that in there just in case. I assume somebody grabbed that already too. But thanks.
Get on that chat. It's a good game. Play with Nate and I right now.
Yeah, we're playing blackjack.
Ruffle Mutt says I'm interested in The Last of Us 2, but worry it might be overhyped for my favor. Did hype or its fan base ever ruin a game for you? Fanboys ruin Naughty Dog 4 for me. Like hype or what?
I don't know. I think that's kind of like you should never let somebody else hype ruin something that you're trying to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop listening to what they've got to say. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So just play whatever you want. Don't be like, oh, well, these people said it's really good and then I didn't like it. That ruined it for me. Or it's like, what does it matter what they say? You know?
No Man's Sky got ruined by the fan base for me. It was being like worshipped as this like 18 trillion planets. Like, you'll never see the same world twice. And the fan base sold it so hard that when I sat down to play it, I was very unimpressed. And a lot of people were trying to like keep themselves excited. So when I said I didn't like it, I had a torrential downpour of people like, you just don't get it, you dumbass. I don't care.
That was after
OJ ruined Death Stranding for me.
I ruined Death Stranding.
It keeps bringing it up that it sucks, and I can't have fun with it.
He's like
OJ is Mass Effect 3.
Flopped on Death Stranding multiple times.
No, I said I'd give it a
rewritten ending.
I said I'd give it a legit shot, and because it's Kojima, and I love Kojima's games, and I gave it a legit shot, and it's...
Apparently you don't love Kojima's games.
You don't.
I don't like that Kojima game. It's one game.
You gotta get on that Jeff Keighley love of Kojima, okay?
I don't like that Kojima game because I don't feel it's as high quality as what he's done before. I don't think it's as good as what he's done before.
Kojima senpai.
Oh, if it makes you feel better... I don't even think Sony knew what was going on with that game, so there you go.
They didn't.
Sony was like, what is this?
They thought they were getting...
10 years from now, what was that?
They thought they were getting the next Metal Gear Solid.
They thought they were getting a completely different game, and then they came in and checked on it, like, what the hell is this? Like, the original Death Stranding was a lot darker. It was a lot more, like, horror-based, and they're like, no, this isn't what we want. So then we got this, and even then Sony was like, what the hell did we greenlight? And Kojima's just like, hey, what do you expect from me? And they're like, that's it. Put it in a box release.
It is what it is.
Yeah, they didn't really market it great, and then they also stopped talking about it after it came out.
Well, how do you really market that game? You know, how do you sell that game to such a wide variety of people? Because it has its realistic, like, apocalyptic story, but it also has that weird stuff that people go, why is there a goo whale?
You just play low roar and have them walk over a hill.
Yep.
That's the commercial.
That was better than them showing
some low roar
to grow a mushroom.
I mean, 10 years from now, it's going to be Death Stranding 2 or Haze 2. Which one do we want?
Oh, they bringing Haze 2 into the equation.
The Halo killer.
Now we're talking
about Death Stranding.
No, I was just gonna say, refer to like the comment that we were talking on, is that I was gonna say it goes the opposite way too. Like people can overhype things, but then people can also like just crap on a game, and it's not necessarily a valid reason. Like I remember back when I lived with my parents still, they just decided like, oh, we just don't really want internet. So like if you need to do schoolwork or college work, like you gotta go to like Starbucks and like or the library. So like
Jesus.
I didn't play online games. I had played it religiously. Like I think the last game I remember playing was like Mario Kart 8. All online, and all of a sudden went to have like no online. Really good detox era, I will remember. But I experienced a lot of games during that time that had no internet influence, and it was so easy to like figure out what I liked, what I didn't like, and then like years later after I played these games, I find out like people are like hating on them, and people are hating on them and not even playing them. Like you want to like listen, man. Like you can't just be like, oh, it sucks because reason that's been said a million times to people who also haven't played the game. Like if someone's played the game and that's their opinion, that's fine. But I also feel like it goes the opposite way too, where we just like crap like on games so hard without even trying them because like one person that we really like said it, and like that negates the experience. Because I think you genuinely, especially if it's going to be available on like services like like Xbox Game Pass or something like that, or sales, like just try things for yourself, form an opinion. Like you can listen to other people's opinions too, but like genuinely like do research and not just like jump on bandwagons, whether it's overhyped or
says it's bad. So I gotta say it's bad.
I think Game Pass helps that a lot.
That's why I think the Order 1886 is one of the best PlayStation 4 games.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm totally up for it. It's an awesome game. It's an awesome
I
game.
think I'll stand on that side. I think that game gets too much crap because it's really short.
Yes.
It is an outstanding.
It was the first game that looked like a next gen game, though.
It was. That game was gorgeous.
One of the boss fights, the main werewolf boss fight, they just repeat the exact same.
Oh, it happens like 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
True, but
awesome. Dude, have you ever imagined fighting your way through a blimp as it's about to crash?
Bro, is this the Spawn crash?
That game has.
That is a game.
I'm waiting for the Order 1887. Okay?
Dreamcast is gonna lose his mind.
That is a game I would like him to take another shot at. With
Nikolai Tesla's in it, and he helps you. He gives you cool weapons.
Maybe that'll be announced at the next Sony event.
Don't hold your breath.
I thought it was. I kind of agree with Dreamcast guy. The game is repetitive, super short, no progression.
It's a tech
system.
demo, yeah.
It's a game just supposed to be games with content, and with
it was a game.
It's not much of it. To be honest, there's not much of a game.
Don't bring up that whole discussion of what is and what isn't a game.
There's not much. It's so short and it's so repetitive and it's so bland with the design.
Okay, they're short and repetitive games all the time. Sorry,
that doesn't mean it's a good game.
It tries to have a plot twist. It tries to have a plot twist that you're actually a vampire, but at that point you don't even care because it's like I've been fighting werewolves. So of course there's vampires. It's just man.
You know what?
Repetitive games.
Again.
A Sly Cooper. We know we're gonna steal things every time with Sly Cooper. That's a repetitive game.
Whoa! How dare you?
Yeah, with Mario, you're gonna bounce
Sly
through a
Cooper
level.
is one of the greatest games.
Sly Cooper has
ever.
way more variety than the Order. It's
You're
not even
gonna steal
close.
something at the end of the day.
Are you on the record saying that Order 1886 is the Sly Cooper of the PlayStation 4? Because that's a strong statement.
No, because I've already said Order is a tech demo. It's a great tech demo, and now that they have the bones there, they can expand upon if they want to move forward. But I mean, we can look at any game that has Radiant missions. Skyrim, there's a whole bunch of stuff. We know what's going to happen at the end of Skyrim. All right. We know what's going to happen. Like we fight all the bosses all the time. It's like, just enjoy gaming.
Let's let's go over to the next super chat here. That's from Robot Chicken saying The Last Guardian could have been better if it actually worked and ran half decently. My recording of it running in slow motion sums up the experience. The Dark Void says, good evening, everyone. In your opinion, what is your favorite video game soundtrack of all time?
Silent Hill 1.
Silent Hill 2.
Assassin's Creed 2.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. That's a good one.
Or even Brotherhood if you want to stretch it.
Okay. Very cool. Then we have Juice Man Vaughn says the Outer Worlds on Switch is trash for now, but people using that as an indictment on the Switch and forgetting what it is corny. No, it's just sometimes it's funny to make fun of some
Corny,
of the ports
bro.
because they're the ports just don't work out. Symphonic Balance says, did anyone else decide to import that Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition vinyl record soundtrack from the UK? I did not. I ended up getting the game digitally anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. I got the definitive. Well, never mind. Nintendo sent me the definitive work set. So,
Better hashtag free product, boy.
yeah, hashtag free product. So they sent me that one. But I bought the game digitally. So I bought the game digital as well. So
The only vinyl I have is Shenmue. I have the Shenmue vinyl over there. That's all I've gotten.
The Robot Chicken says the inconsistent quality of ports is the Switch's biggest problem. It's only going to get worse in next gen.
I was definitely going to add earlier when we were first talking about it, is based off of what I've seen and what I've experienced so far with like even just streaming games, is a lot of people come in. I'm like, they're basically like, people are talking about how they're more and more cautious, which I'm glad that people are being, like conscious with their money, but with more and more ports kind of going, not the best. They're kind of like, I don't know if I want to buy it. Like they're genuinely like looking ahead of time and versus just buying it on launch day and being disappointed in it.
I'm gonna charge one right now. EA is gonna attempt to sell Burnout Paradise Remastered for $50 on the Switch. Do not buy it. Do not buy it.
Yeah,
I'll say this with what he said about ports on the Switch and everything. Like I get it, but I think that the Outer Worlds coming out, that's kind of, we got 7 games that were great ports or good ports. One game, he says, oh, now it's gonna get worse because of one game. But he looked past the 7 games that were released that were good ports.
I think the one that we need to see, just to kind of judge going forward, is Panic Button's work on Doom Eternal. I think that's going to tell us a lot. If they get Doom Eternal to look good enough, like how they did with the original Doom, on the Switch, where a lot of people were really happy with it. If they get it like that, because Doom Eternal has some pretty crazy set pieces that happen in the game later on. So if they can make that work,
and not to mention the way that the chunks of the enemies fly off when you shoot them, like all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a lot more advanced, graphically than the 2016 version. So it's going to be interesting to see how that port actually performs. And
Panic Button obviously is like, a top tier like porters for like porting games to the Switch. So that'll be the one to watch there. And then we have Rodrigo Diaz saying, any chance of next Switch support NVMe or at least SATA 3 M2? They are using SD cards for too long. I don't know what NVIDIA has planned and Nintendo has planned for all of that, because I feel like they'll probably just try to stick with SD cards, but it's hard to say. The problem we have right now is like the Switch is like the handheld system right now, so it's hard to tell what NVIDIA and Nintendo will do going forward with the next Tegra that'll probably just be custom built for the Switch anyway.
I think we've also, with like this handheld and ports discussion, is there's no other handheld system out there. Nintendo, as long as we've gone back into the history of gaming, Nintendo has always been the handheld people, so they kind of know they got it in the bag. And if you go into Nintendo's history, they kind of got some historically stubborn things that you may not like or you may like. So Nintendo's got it in the bag. They're just like, I mean, they put out cardboard peripherals, was it last year? So, and people bought those up in droves. I don't think.
Yep, they gotta do something with those Via boxes, and it worked out.
I mean, like we see competitors.
Nintendo's got this.
We see quote unquote competitors, but they're substantially more expensive. And what's their battery life like?
Hey, that Alienware UFO is going to be coming up in the rearview mirror.
Oh man!
On fire before it explodes.
Right.
Burn your whole house down.
Sublime Mark says, EA, please remaster Dead Space series and Burnout 3. I think
Dead Space definitely.
Yep.
Bring back Dead Space.
For sure.
I'm going to do it,
Not
Max.
Dead Space 3, but
here's
the first 2.
Here's my little altar from the game.
Oh, I have the Dead Space book,
anybody get to the end of Dead Space 3 and then get pissed off?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
I will say that game is so cool, and you have to go through it twice and play as the other new character, because what he hears and sees is completely different than what Isaac deals with, and I love that.
Did you know in the beta,
so good.
In the beta version of Dead Space 3, they were going to have it where you and the other character would fade in and out of existence randomly, so you'd have to solve puzzles single player, and then the other person would show up, and they were kind of like play with the idea of who's real, who's fake.
I would say I'd rather have Burnout Revenge though. That's me though. For Burnout 3.
Takedown. Give me Burnout Takedown.
Ooh.
Give me Burnout Paris $50 on the Switch. You got a deal.
Oh gosh, they just dropped it on Steam for $5 the other day.
Just Burnout Paradise Remastered. It's really good. I played that game on the PS3.
It is good,
but just don't buy it for 50. Just wait and it'll be discounted by the end of the year.
I bet you I bet Black Friday it'll be like one of those specials that they have for. It'll be like $20 or something.
Yeah, $20 or something.
Just the fact they just dropped it on Steam for $5, and I'm like, hold on a minute here. So
the math don't add up.
It'll drop. The Waltman says, as much as games are important for new consoles, this time it's about price. Those with extra cash will buy, but everyone else will just save to contend with this year. About price for the new consoles. I think they're just going to be 500 at this point. I played around the idea of PS5 being 400, but I'm starting to think it's more and more going to be 500.
I'm afraid it's 6, man. I'm afraid it's 6.
Oh, I don't know if they can get away with that. I don't think they can get away with 600.
They can't do that again.
Yeah.
That'd be wild if it was 600 max, but if it is, I mean,
even if they had to take a loss, they wouldn't do that again.
You think
that backfired?
Max at 600?
That's what I'm afraid of. Just because cost-wise, the more they talk about about these SSDs or not even in PCs, that's what makes me afraid that it's 600.
That's why I think it has some weird storage type of 825 gigabytes. Like it's like
SSDs they're getting cheaper though. It's not like
true.
But they're doing some wild stuff inside that PS5.
They can't get away with 600 though. They can't. It's DOA at 600.
I don't think any bundle would be able to save that, honestly.
Yeah, unless there was God of War, the next God of War, and Metal Gear Remake, and Horizon Zero Dawn 2, all included. Then they can get away with 600. If it's all included, and 2 controllers, like Jordan says.
2 controllers. 2 controllers, 500. No game bundled in.
Okay, there you
multicolored system, white and black, like the controller.
You heard it here first. There we go.
Maybe
it looks like the Avengers suit.
Joshua says it's Outer Worlds for Switch patchable. Was really looking forward to until the reviews dropped. What do you think about? What's your take on that, MVG? Do you think they can fix it at all? Like, can they do something?
Yeah. I think it's definitely patchable, and hopefully they will start to do that. And I think they will. I mean, I think they're probably wondering, where they can go from here. I mean, reviews of the game have been interesting. Like, it's reviewed well for the most part, but the performance issues can't be ignored, really. So I think they will do the right thing and come out with some patches for the game. So, yeah, I would expect to see the performance of the game improve over time.
I mean, the way I've heard it basically said is if you can play it on any other system, play it there. But if you can only play it on the Switch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean
it's on Game Pass, so it's like
there is a lot of appeal about having it on the Switch. I'm definitely not trying to shit on the game. I mean, I think it's a good, and having it on a handheld device and being able to play a Fallout style game on a handheld is quite compelling. So there's definitely a lot to like about the game, and I think with a little bit more polish, I think they can turn the game around for sure.
Aiden Quinn, plot twist, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will have a different ending depending on whether you took the stairs or the elevator.
Ooh.
I took the elevator. Mega Nerd says, how are the Game Gear Micros not going to have Sonic Triple Trouble, Rystar, and Land of Illusion?
Right. Yeah.
Because they just want your money.
Hey,
that's right.
It's always possible they could have a 5th version of the elusive like extra version that they put out. That's like only 1,000 of them are made or something.
Stop giving them ideas.
Aiden Quinn says at MVG, OG Doom or Game Gear Micro.
OG Doom on the Game Gear Micro.
OG Doom.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm sure someone will get Doom running on that thing. Yeah, for sure.
Man,
I'll give it a go.
Try it. Did you? How to Bachelor says, did you cap the donations trying to hook MVG up?
I think he's joking. Because we've gotten so many big donations. I think it's just being like, is there a limit? $2. There you go.
Why wouldn't you want to hook that glorious bald head up?
That's right. You let him know.
He needs the grease.
For MVG, Microsoft and emulation god. Hey, he has a whole video of him porting a game right to the original Xbox.
Yep.
Showing how it all goes down.
Show how it's done.
And then Ronald says Sega Fog over Google Stadia. I almost want Sega to win. And wouldn't that be ridiculous if out of everyone it ends up being Sega who has the better cloud service over Stadia?
The Hailmaker.
They might. I mean, I've heard cloud technology, like Nate was saying, I've heard cloud technology is just better in general in Japan. Just the way their infrastructure is more established, it's not as big. I definitely think it'll work better. I don't know if it'll be more profitable.
I just think Sega has a better focus with this than what Stadia has in general right now.
Yeah, true.
And then Venacera says Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. It turns 30 on July 20th. Could be remade with Metal Gear 1 and combine them. That would actually be kind of neat if they went back and got one of the really old Metal Gear games and like gave it a whole new perspective on a new system.
You need a competent company that oversees that.
There's your problem.
Konami is that type of company.
Kojima'd be up for it.
Konami would be there though. Man, you know what I'm saying? You can't shake Konami. Like,
as long as there's a lever on the side you can pull down, and there's it takes your money, and then it hits a jackpot once in a while. I think they're in a good place.
Zildjian says, I think Zildjian's trying to say satire.
Metal Gear Gachapon.
Satire games, I think.
Yeah, because we were talking about satire earlier.
Yeah, it's really done anymore because everyone will get offended and try and cancel it. I don't know how GTA 6 is going to survive Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, satire is different. The thing is that satire has to be done right. And honestly, I feel like good satire offends somebody. Like, that's kind of the point.
Yeah, the thing with Grand Theft Auto is the reason Grand Theft Auto, nothing will happen to Grand Theft Auto is because Grand Theft Auto just won't care.
Yeah. I mean, there is a flat out extended torture scene that is required in GTA 5, and people complained about it for like a week. But now in the last 5 years, who even brings that up?
Oh yeah, the teeth. Oh.
Yeah.
Boston Samus says, shout out to Alaya on the show. Idea for the chat to thumbs up or down. Up to 4 of the cast members play a featured game throughout the podcast. Play your skills and subs where your mouth is. Smash Rocket League premiere next week. Well, who you calling? You guys are already playing Clubhouse games over there. They're already playing it.
Oh, yeah, who's winning?
That's a good side.
Say it's a tie.
What do you say, Dave? Yeah, Nate, what do you say?
Dave?
I was winning pretty decisively until we had a communications error, but now MVG is winning the overall total, I think, by 1. Somehow we tied in blackjack, so.
Oh.
I didn't know you could tie in blackjack.
Oh, and then Tesla Volt Game says Flames hat and Oilers shirt. What does this here say? And then Mortal Enemies to the end. P.S. Happy to see NHL coming back.
I said this before earlier in the show. Oilers hometown, Calgary. As long as the cup stays in Alberta, I really don't care where it goes. Yeah, so there it is.
And here we go. Okay. Luke says, thanks for these guys. It feels like a fun party you get to join in every week in lockdown.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Yes,
this is really
Don't
fun.
forget Miss Click's stalker angle of her camera there.
It's like kind of voyeuristic. Like,
it feels like I'm looking right over her computer like, how you doing?
Get Taco Bell, man. Extra toenail tacos.
Karen says, I think Gods and Monsters will be the third party launch game in the coming PlayStation event.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Ubisoft's going to have their like, I assume they'll have their event to show that, right?
There's in July, right?
That's a game I'm really curious to see. That'd be interesting.
You know what we need back is Monster Rancher, because those were weird good games.
They brought back Monster Rancher. Yep. It's on the Switch. It's on, and it has some weird microtransaction stuff to it, from what I remember. And they don't have the Monster Rancher was that you would put a disc in the PlayStation. Instead, they just have codes that you punch in now, so you don't even get to do the cool part.
It just kind of removes all the thrill of it for sure.
Yeah. Zaire Miller says, if Microsoft would to buy a Japanese studio, which one would you think they could buy?
Sega.
Sega.
They can't. I don't think they can't buy Sega. I don't think they can.
Well, I'm saying, like, hypothetically, they have enough money for it, probably, but I don't think Sega wants to be bought. And I've said that before on the record. I don't think Sega makes so much money they don't care about having a boss.
Well, Sammy is the
Sammy owns Sega.
Yeah, Sammy owns Sega, so they have to go
pretty
through
powerful
that.
box to have.
What about FromSoft? Did we already mention that before?
They could,
Don't.
They could. I mean, if they put enough money into it, they could definitely buy them.
Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they say I want them to succeed, but don't.
Yeah. You know what they could buy is they could partner with Sega, and then they could partner with Atlas and bring us Persona on the PC.
That's the long game for sure.
Yeah.
Or
It is a long game. They're waiting it out.
What did you say, Jordan?
A new trauma center.
New trauma center.
Yeah.
You in this trauma
Listen, I
center?
want to do some virtual surgery, okay?
Trauma Center is actually fire.
And then Jalen says #cheeks clapped.
Woo.
But boost.
The fall. Well, we got past games
All the
everyone
cheeks.
played about OJ and Miss Click going after each other in Splatoon. So
It's gonna happen.
I've just realized that Ms. Click is just not good at the game, so there's really
Oh my god.
Wait, who won?
Don't call her out like that.
We haven't even got a chance to. I've been playing this freaking 300-hour JRPG game. So
Then why is OJ acting like he won?
We'll get it done, but I mean, it's not much of a.
this
It's not
man
much
here
of a
got like
challenge.
20 hours in Splatoon coming at me. All right.
Whoever
Don't let him talk to you like that.
OJ, if you want to win, you have to recruit Evan.
I'm not. I don't want to lean
are
the
a
scales
higher
like that at all.
You are a
Leave me
higher.
alone.
Look, I'm not saying I'm taking sides, but OJ, if you need a second person for your squad, bro, you hit me up.
is Evan good?
Whoa.
Yes.
Oh, whoa. No.
Evan is like the hidden Hokage of Splatoon.
Dude, he's the silent
I'm
assassin that carries a giant Gatling gun.
I'm like Hidden Valley Ranch of Splatoon, you know? I'm always there when you need me.
Delicious.
It's a thought that counts.
Delicious.
Low on calories, high on taste.
The fallen asks, why is Nathan so grumpy?
I'm not. You just don't appreciate my humor.
Amen.
I appreciate your humor.
We love you, Nate. We love you, Nate.
Dom says, I wish Custom Robo would come to the Switch.
Check out Snap the
Heck
Drive.
yeah.
Check out that game. That is from the creator of Custom Robo. It's pretty much the same thing.
Bonsley.
Just so customize a robot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Same game.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I don't know if you guys have seen it, Snap the Drive, but it's the same thing. Same guy who created Custom Robo. He just made a different game. It's called Snap the Drive. It's coming to Switch and PC.
Bonsley 405 says, why do people act like the Switch isn't 9th gen?
It's even in 3030.
Probably because we're talking about if it can have those kind of games ported to it in the
Yeah,
first
because of power. That's the reason why power and because of what third-party developers put out there and how they address it. I don't really think that when it comes to Nintendo, like I don't think they care about gens anymore. I think they're just like, crap. Yeah, they're just we don't care. So at this point, so
technically the Switch is like the evolution of the Wii U. So to them, that's probably a new generation. But like to the developers, they're like, can we get this 9th gen game on the Switch? We'll find out.
I mean, Switch is making so many billions of dollars. They don't really care. Like, put us whatever generation you want. Those checks clear.
Yeah, I think
they don't
Sony's
care.
I think Sony's like the last company left that's really like hard defining generations. Even Microsoft's trying to blur the lines between some of that right now. So
I think Microsoft's still talking about it a little bit because they're talking about a lot of their marketing now keeps saying 4 generations of Xbox. And yes, yeah, who knows?
yeah. And then Sakon 10 says, name a better battle theme than You Will Know Our Names.
That's Xenoblade. Better battle theme than you know our names.
Wait, hold on. Battle theme though, because when that 557 Airbuster
I was gonna
theme
say.
kicks in,
I was going to say
When that-
battle theme when that kicks in, or or even Persona 5 or Persona 5.
Yeah, Persona 5.
Persona 5 is good.
That'd be popping, man.
I'm more of a Metal Gear Rising
Persona
Rules of
4
Nature
has some
kind of guy.
badass music.
Final Fantasy 4 and 9. I like the when you get in random battles. I love that. This is my attempt at music.
What was it again?
I'm not repeating. I was going to clip that and make it an awful ringtone.
Torna's battle theme is really good too, like the jazz influenced battle theme. I really like the soundtrack for Torna.
Any ska music infused is okay with me.
All right.
Infused with what?
Jimmy says
Tony Hawk soundtrack.
Jimmy says FU Game Crew would be a good guest for Spawncast. we mentioned them before. We'll get them on because Sean mentioned them as well. So we can get them on for an episode coming up. Zaire Miller says, "What happened to Biomutant? They had to delay it, and I think it's coming out next year. Especially now, like it already got delayed, and it's probably like even further delayed internally. So I think it'll probably come out next year, 2021." That game looked interesting, but it sounds like they're revamping a lot of it in development. Ryan says, "Did you get your Atari VCS yet?" I did not. I don't know when I'll get it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, apparently they're like
having shadow dimension
and stuff, and I don't know. They got 500 of them done, and they needed to send them to apparently developers. I don't know who's like, we got to go develop for this thing. Send us a dev kit, because the dev kit and the retail units are apparently the same thing.
Why don't you just say you're a developer?
I know. I was gonna say, yeah. I kind of want to get one.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird over there. Mitch says, "I can't wait for Atlas to finally reveal Shin Megami Tensei 5 Attack and Dethrone God."
Yes. Y'all see that meme, the Attack and Dethrone God?
Oh yeah.
I love it. So it's just on the to-do list.
The Dark Void saying, "Speaking of Rockstar, they need to bring back Space Station Silicon Valley, the best underrated N64 game." And then Tesla Volta Games says, "Final Fantasy 7 Remake Genova theme is the best battle theme."
Pretty good.
I think I got
It's pretty good.
those there. Let me just make sure. I think we're good though. Yeah, so that's going to do it here for Spawncast. Let me go around here while I just double check Streamlabs. Floor Hugger, thanks for joining us tonight. You want to let everyone know where they can find you?
This was truly an honor to be on here. Thank you guys for letting me on. Dreamcast, thank you for sitting with the 6-hour call. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry you guys had to sit through the Oilers.
We recorded 3 podcasts for our website. That's what the 6-hour week.
Nice.
Yeah. So over on Level 1 Games.
Yeah, Level 1 Games. Hold on. I'm a hit on all of you later. And I mean hit on. Sorry for everybody that was so flabbergasted by the Oilers stuff and the Calgary stuff. Just who I am. If you guys want to see more, you can follow me on Floor Hugger at Twitter. Go to Level 1 Games. I often write. I do retrospective, so I focus on old games. Dreamcast knows I'm focusing on the Commodore 64 right now, so that's what I've been doing.
My jam right there.
Such a good system. And I'm so glad to be here. Thank you guys for just letting me on and letting me ramble for a bit.
It's good to have you on, Floor Hugger. Thanks for joining us. And there were 2 in the Streamlabs that I had missed before. It's Miguel saying, "I just picked up a new 2DS XL thanks to Newswave this week." I grabbed one too at MVG. I think you grabbed one as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
XL.
$99.
$99. Yeah.
I'm gonna mod mine up and give it away on the channel.
Nice.
It looks so nice.
Oh yeah. They had the purple one up, and then they also had the turquoise one went up as well on sale for $99.
Like the blue and black?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, the purple one.
Those went up as well. So you might want to try to hunt them down, because I think they're discontinuing the 3DS line. I think that's the end of it.
Yeah, I was using Nintendo points too for my stuff.
It says, "I'm new to the platform. Any recommendations for 3DS games?" Thanks for the news, and thanks for all of the content, everyone.
I just bought a new 3DS game recently.
What'd you get?
Fire Emblem Warriors on the new Nintendo 3DS.
Why? That 3DS library is crazy.
It's funny because the new Nintendo 3DS games, they're so like you don't find them anymore. So I think that those ones are gonna go all out of print, right? And then they're gonna maybe be worth a little something. So we'll see.
You know.
I
don't think it's a 3DS game, but the Professor Layton series is a great series to get into.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can go all the way back through the DS too, but like Mario 3D Land is great. That's an obvious one that I think is
yes, so right. Absolutely. People hate on that game. I love it. Like it's easy, but it's so fun.
Yeah, so if you're new to it, like that's a good one I think to grab if you're getting started with something like that, because it should already come with Mario Kart, so you already have that as well. Omar also says, "Shout out to Jordan's backdrop. It's nice to have something to look at while listening to the topics." That's because Jordan has an awesome backdrop.
Thanks. I'm glad you like color.
You want to let everyone know where they can find you, Jordan?
Yeah, you can find me at Jordan Fridge and Electric Pop. I talk about movies on one channel, Pokemon stuff on the other. There's a link in the chat if you want to find out more. Thanks for having me on. Fun week.
Jib Jab says, get Shane from FU Game Crew on the show. We will talk to FU Game Crew for a future episode. OJ, where can they find you, man?
Right here on YouTube. Player Essence got some cool stuff coming up this week. We're going to be doing some Clubhouse Games tournament stuff, so that should be fun with the community. Also, I stream all the time, stream daily, do like gaming talk shows and stuff like that. Do a lot of Nintendo content, a lot of Japanese RPG stuff, Japanese gaming news, stuff like that. Just videos. So check out the channel when you get the opportunity. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Streams are fun. So yeah, thanks for having me on once again, John.
Miss Click, where can they find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. We appreciate it. No, everything's crazy right now, but we love you. You can find me here on YouTube as Miss Click Gaming, or I'm pretty much live every day on Twitch, except for Sundays, at MissClick_live. You can find me there, or anything else, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff is MissClickGaming.com.
Okay, and then what about MVG?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G, YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer, and I did a video today on the Outer Worlds performance boosting and patching for modified switches. So check that out. And on Monday, I've got a regular video coming on Monday morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Cool. Very good. Very good. And then what about Max, Dreamcast guy?
Just youtube.com/Dreamcast guy. I'm trying to line some stuff up for next week. My plan is I'm going to have like a retrospective about Last of Us. Now that I've beaten it again, I want to look at Last of Us one more time before Last of Us 2 comes out. And of course, I will be doing a big review of Last of Us 2 as soon as humanly possible.
Cool. All right, that'll work. And then what about Nate?
You can find me on Twitter at DirectFeedGames or at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. On the Nate the Hate channel, we have a podcast discussing the PlayStation 5 event and why Sony is going to shock us with some big PlayStation 5 game announcements. And on DirectFeedGames, you can find an Outer Worlds Switch versus Xbox comparison and undocked Outer Worlds footage, so you can look at some blurry or non-blurry gameplay.
What big game reveal they're going to shock us with, Nate?
You can listen to the video and find out.
Tell us, bro. Just leak it. Leak it.
I'll give you a little tease. We did discuss Bloodborne on that show.
Oh,
now I have to watch it.
Yes, we did.
And Evan.
You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram at Kimmerix Project. This week, I'm mostly going to be working on some commission pieces, although I'm trying to finish the floor me and my friends are on in GTFO before they change the rundown to the new stuff this week. So we're going to try to get through that so I can at least see what the later levels look like. We probably won't get through them, though.
Okay. All right. That should do it here for Spawncast episode 166. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, to talk about whatever happens this week in games. But it sounds like the PS5 event probably won't be until the following week. But that should be, I think, a pretty good podcast then, because we're going to have a special guest on for that Saturday. But we'll see you guys next Saturday night. I'll see you then.
Bye.